Chapter 744. Kill. Jiang Taishu's eyes grew colder. He had to win today. He had to kill Lu Ming. His goal was to be the strongest king, to be number one. How could he be stopped by Lu Ming from the beginning? Jiang Taishu's entire body had turned into numerous divine weapons, which were indestructible and invincible. Lu Ming combined the two second-level essences of wind and thunder, and with his powerful genuine essence, he fought with Jiang Taishu with the exploding star fist. The two turned into two rays of light and kept bombarding each other. It was terrifying. The nearby mountains were destroyed and the earth exploded. It was like doomsday. Outside it was silent. Everyone held their breath and watched with wide eyes. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Jiang Taishu had exchanged more than 50 blows. Gosh, what kind of combat strength is this? It's too terrifying. Is he still in the king realm? Ordinary martial artists at the first level of the spiritual sea realm can't take more than a few blows from him. It's too terrifying. This is a peerless talent. With their foundation, once they break through the spiritual sea realm, they will advance by leaps and bounds. In the battle of fortune, they may be able to compete with the top 300 or even the top 200 geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. Many people were discussing in shock. Jiang Taishu had entered the 10 Kings 3 years ago. If he had broken through the spiritual sea realm earlier, he would have been ranked in the top 300. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming and Jiang Taishu exchanged more than 10 blows in a row, shattering a mountain. They were separated in the void. In addition to shock, Jiang Taishu's eyes were filled with killing intent and anger. He didn't expect to be stopped by Lu Ming. Clang! Clang! The sound of weapons vibrating could be heard. Above Jiang Taishu's head, a huge mountain appeared. This mountain was made of bare rocks, and there were weapons of all kinds stuck on it. 9 silver chakras were extremely bright. This was Jiang Taishu's bloodline. Kill! Jiang Taishu waved his hand, and the endless weapons on the mountain flew into his body. His aura was stronger, and there was even a metallic luster on his skin. Bang! He stepped into the void and charged towards Lu Ming. Looks like he has finally used his strongest combat strength. That's good too. This battle should end soon. Lu Ming whispered. The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline erupted. Lu Ming stepped forward and struck out with his palm. Hell-suppressing heaven's skill. There seemed to be a hell-suppressing steel in his palm that could suppress the 9 underworld hell. Dong! Lu Ming's palm collided with Jiang Taishu's palm. At the place where the two of them exchanged blows, the space vibrated violently, producing ripples that spread in all directions like water waves. Then, the crowd saw a figure retreating at an extremely fast speed. Jiang Taishu. The retreating figure was actually Jiang Taishu. One of his arms was trembling nonstop, and his palm was even somewhat distorted. Those who saw this scene could hardly believe their eyes. The ancient Jiang clan cultivated the art of the immemorial divine armament, and their bodies were even tougher than spirit weapons. Every move they made was filled with boundless power, capable of destroying everything. But now, in a head-on confrontation, he was actually suppressed by Lu Ming. His palm was injured, and he was at a disadvantage. Impossible! Jiang Taishu roared at the sky in disbelief. What's impossible? You're strong, but I'm stronger. Lu Ming stepped forward and continued to attack. Lu Ming, you must die. Jiang Taishu roared and attacked again, but after a few moves, his body retreated rapidly. His arms were severely deformed, and even his bones were shattered. He spat out blood. You want to kill me? Then I'll kill you. Lu Ming strode forward with a murderous look in his eyes. Outside, the crowd was shocked. Lu Ming not only defeated Jiang Taishu, but also wanted to kill him. Jiang Taishu was a rare genius of the Jiang clan. In the future, he was a promising candidate for the throne of the Jiang clan. Lu Ming wanted to kill him. How dare he? Bang! Jiang Taishu was no match for Lu Ming at all. He was sent flying by Lu Ming and coughed up blood. At least 7 or 8 bones in his body were broken. Lu Ming, if you dare to kill me, the Jiang clan won't let you off. Jiang Taishu roared. Haha, you're a genius of the ancient Jiang clan. You've lost, but you still have the cheek to use your clan to suppress me. Now that the Battle of Providence is about to begin, do you think the elders of the Jiang clan dare to deal with me? Lu Ming laughed loudly. He was fearless. For a large clan like the Jiang clan, if a descendant of the Jiang clan lost in a competition among peers, the elders would not intervene because they did not have the face to do so. In large clans, the competition was even crueler. Not only did they have to compete with their own clan, but they also had to compete with the geniuses of other forces. Only then could they be qualified to inherit the clan. Damn it! Jiang Taishu roared and retreated frantically, trying to escape. He had to escape. He had to escape and gather the other experts of the Jiang clan in the Heavenly King Monument world to kill Lu Ming. You can't escape. Lu Ming chased after him. He had always been decisive in his actions. Since he had offended someone, he would kill them. Young Master Taishu, hurry up and leave. We'll stop him. 3 sharp lights suddenly flew over from afar and blasted toward Lu Ming. They were 3 elders. They were like 3 divine weapons that were extremely terrifying. Without a doubt, they were the 3 powerful old monsters of the Jiang clan. Jiang Taishu was overjoyed. He used a secret technique and frantically fled forward. You're courting death. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He instantly threw out 2 palms and a kick. The 3 elders flew backward and coughed up blood. Their eyes were full of shock. The 3 of them had all cultivated the immemorial mystical weapon art for more than 500 years. They were definitely the top experts among the peak-level kings. They could kill ordinary peak-level kings with a wave of their hands. However, the 3 of them coughed up blood because of Lu Ming's attack. It was too terrifying. Kill! Lu Ming used the 9 dragons, sky-stomping steps, and flashed past like a phantom. He threw out a palm strike. Pum! One of the elders was torn into pieces. All of his monument chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. Then his figure didn't stop as he continued to kill. Soon, the other 2 elders followed in his footsteps. The 3 elders each had close to 100 monument chi. This way, Lu Ming's monument chi had increased to more than 400. Unfortunately, Jiang Taishu escaped. Lu Ming looked in the direction Jiang Taishu had escaped. His eyes were like lightning. At this moment, Jiang Taishu had already run off to who knows where. Lu Ming stepped forward and continued to search for prey while refining the essence blood. The essence blood's energy was all transferred to his second bloodline. Since the higher the level of the suppressing prison steel bloodline, the stronger the suppressing prison skill would be. Lu Ming planned to upgrade it first. In the outside world, countless people were shocked. Jiang Taishu, the genius who had been favored the most and had the highest chance of winning, had been defeated so early. If Lu Ming used his full strength, he would only need a few moves to kill you. Jiang Taishu looked at Wang Nye and chuckled. I really didn't expect you to be defeated by Lu Ming in a head-on battle. Wang Ju's expression was extremely serious. He and Jiang Taishu were competitors, so he knew how terrifying Jiang Taishu was. If even Jiang Taishu was defeated, then he might not be a match for him either. This person's existence is a huge obstacle to our goal of fighting for first place. Apart from first place, what's the difference between the other ranks? Jiang Taishu said. Oh, you want to team up and eliminate Lu Ming together? Wang Ju said. Yes, you can team up and gather the other experts of the Jiang and Wang families. Also, don't some of Lu Ming's friends also come? His girlfriend is very beautiful. And those trash from the Golden Sword sect. As long as we take them down, Lu Ming will definitely be cautious, and it'll be much easier to kill him. Jiang Taishu said, a cold light flashing in his eyes. Haha, Jiang Taishu. Looks like you're really afraid of Lu Ming. All right, I agree. We'll gather the people of the two families first, and then take down Lu Ming's friends. Then we'll wait for Lu Ming at the exit. Wang Ju laughed. All right, then let's move. We'll meet at the exit, Jiang Taishu said with a cold face. Wang Ju smiled and then stepped into the air with Wang Mia. Humph, I'll take care of that bastard Lu Ming first. Then deal with you guys. Jiang Taishu's eyes were cold. He took out a few pills and swallowed them. Then he sat down cross-legged and began to heal his injuries. 2 hours later, Jiang Taishu stood up and disappeared in a ray of light. In the heavenly monument world, even voice transmission jade talismans couldn't be used. If one wanted to find someone, they could only rely on luck and fly. However, many people from the Jiang and Wang families had entered. Slowly, some people had gathered. Jiang Taishu had even formed an alliance with Luan Zhan to kill Lu Ming together. The people of the three ancient families moved out and started to search for Xian Yinqing, Kenfei Ryu, and the people of the Golden Sword sect. This time, apart from Kenfei Ryu, there were a total of 29 people from the Golden Sword sect. However, only 9 of them had successfully entered. Jin Zhaokai was one of the 9. He had cultivated for more than 800 years and was an extremely powerful peak king of the Golden Sword sect. However, at his age, the chances of breaking through to the spiritual sea realm were very slim. However, the Heavenly King ranking was a chance. He wanted to give it a try, now that he had gathered 72 strands of steel qi. Perhaps there really was hope. At this moment, he suddenly stopped. In front of him, 3 figures walked over. Jiang Taishu. Jin Zhaokai's expression changed drastically. The one in front of the 3 was Jiang Taishu. Looking at your cultivation technique, you're from the Golden Sword sect, right? Jiang Taishu asked with a gloomy face. That's right. I'm from the Golden Sword sect. If young Master Jiang needs the steel qi, I'm willing to give it all to you. Jin Zhaokai had already lost all hope after encountering Jiang Taishu. He knew that this time he couldn't keep the steel qi. He could only exchange it for his life. Give you the steel qi? Hee hee. I'll still get the steel qi after killing you. Jiang Taishu smiled coldly. At the same time, his body moved and pounced towards Jin Zhaokai, showing off his ability. Jin Zhaokai was shocked. He frantically retreated and used all his strength to block. A bright golden sword light slashed towards Jiang Taishu. However, in the next moment, the sword light broke. His body shook violently, and one of his arms was broken. Puchi! Jiang Taishu's palm directly pierced through Jin Zhaokai's heart. Why? Jin Zhaokai's eyes widened, filled with unwillingness. Generally speaking, as long as one took the initiative to give up the steel qi, ordinary people wouldn't kill them. This was because they were all from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, not the Heavenly Corpse sect or the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Why? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being too close to that bastard Lu Ming. After saying that, Jiang Taishu released his energy and killed Jin Zhaokai. Chapter 746. This scene happened in every corner of the Sky King's monument world. The 9 powerhouses of the Golden Sword sect who entered were all killed. Countless people saw this scene in the outside world. Despicable, despicable. The remaining people of the Golden Sword sect who did not enter the Sky King's monument world were furious. The actions of Jiang Taishu and the others were too despicable. What did you say? In the outside world, the Jiang and Wang families also targeted the people of the Golden Sword sect. The expressions of the people of the Golden Sword sect changed drastically, and they did not continue to speak. The Sky King's monument world is not a battle stage. All kinds of methods can be used in a one-on-one battle. Don't you understand? Once you enter, you should be prepared to be killed. The people of the Jiang family said coldly. Although the others were indignant, the ancient families were too powerful. They could only shut up. Look, that's Lu Ming's girlfriend and Kenfei Ryu. They're about to meet Jiang Taishu. And Wang Ju. He's also nearby. It's over. This is dangerous. Two figures appeared on the Sky King's monument. They were Xian Yanqing and Kenfei Ryu. Xian Yanqing and Kenfei Ryu happened to meet half a day after entering the Sky King's monument world. The two of them decided to work together. I wonder where Brother Lu is? Kenfei Ryu asked. Don't worry about that guy. No one here is a match for him, Xian Yanqing said. He was very confident in Lu Ming. Suddenly, Xian Yanqing stopped. Kenfei Ryu was stunned. The next moment, his expression changed slightly. A dozen figures appeared in front of him. The leader was Jiang Taishu. Beside him were two young men. They were obviously extremely powerful existences in the Jiang family. The other dozen people were all burly men and old men. They exuded a sharp aura. Jiang Taishu. Kenfei Ryu's expression changed. He transmitted his voice to Xian Yanqing and said, Miss Xia, there are too many of them. Let's retreat first. They have killing intent. They might not let us go. Xian Yanqing said. Whoosh, whoosh. Jiang Taishu and the others moved very quickly. Like spirit weapons, they tore through the void and appeared in front of Xian Yanqing and Kenfei Ryu in an instant. Ha ha ha. Kenfei Ryu and you, Lu Ming's woman. You won't be able to escape today. But don't worry, I won't kill you. I'll cripple your cultivation and then take you to kill you in front of Lu Ming. Jiang Taishu's voice was extremely cold. Looks like you've been defeated by Lu Ming. Otherwise, why would you use such a method to deal with Lu Ming? Xian Yanqing said indifferently. His eyes were filled with disdain. Shut up, bitch. Jiang Taishu shouted angrily. He stared at Xian Yanqing ferociously and said, Bitch, Lu Ming will definitely die. I won't let you go to waste. I'll serve you well in front of Lu Ming. Ha, a genius of an ancient family. An expert on the Heavenly King leaderboard? Trash. You want to use despicable means to win after being defeated. You'll never amount to anything. Xian Yanqing mocked with a look of disdain. Bitch, you're courting death. Jiang Taishu shouted angrily. Ha, what a sharp tongue this girl has. I like it. With a loud laugh, Wang Ju and Wang Mia walked over with more than 10 people. Kenfei Ryu's face was extremely solemn. Xian Yanqing also frowned slightly. Wang Ju, you've come at the right time. Is everything settled? Jiang Taishu asked. Of course. Wang Ju waved his hand, and 4 golden swords flew out and stabbed into the ground below. Jiang Taishu also waved his hand, and 5 golden swords flew out and stabbed into the ground. 9 golden swords were lined up in a row. You bastards! Kenfei Ryu roared, his face extremely ugly. Jiang Taishu and Wang Ju were actually hunting the people of the Golden Sword sect. Kenfei Ryu's eyes turned red when he saw 9 people of the Golden Sword sect killed. They didn't deserve to die. They can only blame themselves for being too close to Lu Ming. Soon, you will follow in their footsteps. Jiang Taishu smiled sinisterly. At this moment, the scene in the outside world was also frozen. Many people were angry and felt that Jiang Taishu's actions were shameless. However, the other party was a genius of the 6 ancient families. They didn't dare to say anything and could only swallow their anger. At this moment, Jiang Taishu waved his hand and led more than 10 experts of the Jiang family towards Xian Yanqing and Kenfei Ryu. Sky Demon Force Field. Xian Yanqing waved her hands, and the Sky Demon Force Field enveloped herself and Kenfei Ryu. Kill! Jiang Taishu roared and rushed into the Sky Demon Force Field like a divine weapon. More than 10 experts of the Jiang family also rushed into the Sky Demon force field. As soon as they rushed into the Sky Demon force field, their expressions changed drastically as they felt an unimaginable pressure. Ever since Xian Yanqing had successfully merged the destruction intent and the wind intent, the power of the Sky Demon force field had greatly increased. Later on, her bloodline had undergone nirvana and reached the 9th level of the king level, so it was even stronger. Destruction cut, a terrifying cutting power, crazily slashed at the Jiang family members. Someone immediately coughed up blood and was severely injured. Break! Jiang Taishu roared. His palm was like a heavenly blade that could cut through everything. With one strike, the force field in front of him was broken. Jiang Taishu strode forward and rushed in front of Xian Yanqing. Kenfei Ryu's eyes turned golden, and a dazzling golden light spread out from his hand. It turned into a sharp sword light and slashed at Jiang Taishu. Clown, how dare you attack me? You're courting death. Jiang Taishu struck out with his palm again. It turned into a divine sword and crashed into the dazzling golden sword light. The sword light shattered, and Kenfei Ryu retreated quickly. His face turned red, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was too weak compared to Jiang Taishu, even with the help of Xian Yanqing's Sky Demon force field. He was still far from being Jiang Taishu's opponent. Jiang Taishu was like a divine weapon that could not be stopped. He continued to break the Sky Demon force field and attacked Xian Yanqing. Sky Demon right hand. Xian Yanqing whispered. Black light bloomed on her body. Her jade-like hand gently pressed forward. A beautiful arm condensed in the air, like the world's most beautiful work of art, and blasted toward Jiang Taishu. Jiang Taishu struck out with his palm and collided with the beautiful arm. In an instant, Jiang Taishu's expression changed slightly. His body trembled and he took a step back. In the process of him and Xian Yanqing's attacks, he had been bombarded by a powerful, destructive force. In the heavenly demon force field, he was actually at a disadvantage. This made his murderous intent even sharper. First, he was defeated by Lu Ming. Now he was at a disadvantage in the battle with Xian Yanqing. He could not accept it. Kill! Jiang Taishu's aura became stronger as he unleashed his bloodline. He charged toward Xian Yanqing. Kenfei Ryu, you go and deal with those people. Leave this guy to me. Xian Yanqing said to Kenfei Ryu. Okay. Kenfei Ryu's body flashed. Golden sword light bloomed and attacked the rest of the Jiang family. Those people were also very strong. They kept breaking the Sky Demon force field, putting Xian Yanqing under great pressure. Xian Yanqing not only had to control the Sky Demon force field, but he also had to deal with Jiang Taishu. This caused the spectators to be extremely shocked. Chapter 747. Kenfei Ryu was not affected by the Sky Demon force field. He used a guerrilla tactic. A golden sword light kept moving around, attacking the Jiang family members from time to time to distract them and reduce the pressure on Xian Yanqing. Jiang Taishu went crazy and attacked Xian Yanqing crazily. However, Xian Yanqing's bloodline martial technique was extremely powerful. Together with the Sky Demon force field's cutting power, Jiang Taishu actually had the upper hand. Haha, Jiang Taishu, it seems like you can't do it. You can't even take down a girl. Wang Ju laughed at the side. Wang Ju, are you going to watch the show from the side? Jiang Taishu's face was extremely ugly. He and Wang Ju were competitors. He knew that Wang Ju was doing it on purpose. Huh. Wang Ju laughed, but he was also very shocked in his heart. He didn't make a move because he thought that Jiang Taishu would be able to take down Xian Yanqing and the others. Taking a step back, if Jiang Taishu couldn't take down Xian Yanqing, it would be a blow to his reputation. Then he would make a move to determine the outcome. However, he never thought that Jiang Taishu would be at a disadvantage. Xian Yanqing's strength was beyond his expectations. A murderous intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. He suddenly agreed with Jiang Taishu's way of doing things. With these people here, how could they get first place? Jiang Taishu, let me help you take down this girl. Wang Ju's body emitted a terrifying flame. The surrounding temperature rose rapidly. The purple flame seemed to have turned Wang Ju purple. Boom! Wang Ju was like a burning meteor. He rushed into the sky demon force field and attacked Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinqing's eyes flashed with seriousness. Sky demon hand. She formed a seal with both hands. Two beautiful arms formed in the air, one on the left and one on the right, attacking Jiang Taishu and Wang Ju, respectively. Bitch break! Jiang Taishu turned into a divine weapon. Every strand of his hair was a weapon. He joined his palms together and struck out with force. Rip! The void seemed to be torn apart. The palms struck a sky demon hand. On the other side, Wang Ju turned into flames and attacked with a shocking punch. Boom! Boom! The sky shook and Xian Yinqing's face turned pale. His body trembled, and he couldn't help but take 9 steps back. The heavenly demon force field trembled and almost dissipated. Not good. In the outside world, the members of the Golden Sword sect wore heavy expressions. When Wang Ju and Jiang Taishu joined forces, they were too strong, among those at the same level who could fight against them. In addition, there are still more than a dozen experts from the Jiang family and some experts from the Wang family who had yet to make a move. Xian Yinqing and Kenfei Ryu were most likely dead. Bitch, let's see if you can still resist. Kill! Jiang Taishu shouted. Nest, you guys are so shameless. A group of people bullying 2 people. I can't stand it anymore. A voice rang out. A fatty carrying a battle axe rushed over at an extremely fast speed. It's him. Everyone's heart trembled. Fatty Kong Jin was also the person who had reached the 20th step and shattered 28 shields. Moreover, he seemed to be very close to Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Fatty Kong Jin's arrival made Jiang Taishu and the others frown. Damn Fatty! I advise you not to meddle in other people's business. Otherwise, you'll end up badly. Jiang Taishu stared at Kong Jin unkindly. Fat your ass. You're the fatty. Your whole family is fat. The fatty glared at him and cursed. Then he looked at Xian Yinqing and put on a smile. Sister, are you all right? Who's your sister? Xian Yinqing glared at him. My wife is your sister. So of course you're my sister. Where's my brother-in-law, Lu Ming? Kong Jin's eyes darted left and right. You! Xian Yinqing was speechless. He had never seen such a shameless person. So many people joining forces to deal with 2 people. How shameless! Today I'll teach you a lesson. Kong Jin grabbed his battle axe and revealed a trace of malevolence in his eyes. You guys kill this fatty! Wang Ju waved his hand and said to the people of the Wang family. Wang Ju had brought more than 10 people with him. Each of them was an expert. Kill this fatty! Wang Mia was also among them. He waved his hand and said, Kill! More than 10 experts of the Wang family rushed toward Kong Jin. Eat my battle axe! Kong Jin held his battle axe with both hands, stepped forward and chopped down with it. Pucci! The next moment, an expert of the Wang family was directly split in half. Pucci! Kong Jin swung his battle axe again. This time, 2 experts of the Wang family were split in half at the waist. If you want to kill me, I'll kill you first. Kong Jin's fat body was like an ancient fierce beast. He was carrying a huge axe that was as big as a door. It was as if he had entered a realm where no one could stop him. He swung his axe one after another. No one could stop his axe. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This fatty was too strong. Those people of the Wang family were definitely experts. They were extremely strong existences among the same level, but no one could block his battle axe. Wang Ye only felt his body trembling and cold sweat flowing down. Inhuman. This fatty was simply inhuman. He was terrifyingly strong. In the blink of an eye, 8 of the more than 10 experts of the Wang family were killed by the fatty. Go. Wang Ye turned and ran. Trash. Kong Jin berated. He looked at Wang Ju and Jiang Taishu and said, I heard that you two were the previous 10 heavenly kings. I want to give it a try. You'll be the one. Kong Jin pointed his battle axe at Jiang Taishu and rushed towards him with the battle axe in hand. Jiang Taishu's expression was ugly. His palm was like a divine weapon as he slashed at the fatty. Clang! Jiang Taishu's body shook violently and was forced back. Go out and fight. I won't take advantage of you, Kong Jin said, and flew out of the range of the Sky Demon force field. Jiang Taishu's expression changed and became extremely gloomy. Kong Jin's combat strength was too terrifying. Although he suffered a loss in the Sky Demon force field just now, who knew if Kong Jin used his full strength just now? Even if he was out of the Sky Demon force field, he was not confident that he could win against Kong Jin. He even had a premonition that he would be defeated. How could this be? Jiang Taishu roared in his heart. How could there be such a perverted person? What are you doing? If you don't dare, then get lost quickly. Kong Jin berated. Brother Jiang, I think we should retreat first. This fatty is unfathomable and difficult to deal with. It won't be too late to deal with them after we gather more people. Wang Ju's expression also changed. He then transmitted his voice to Jiang Taishu. With the addition of Kong Jin, it was obviously impossible for them to take down Xian Yinqing and the others. Let's go! Jiang Taishu shouted and turned to leave. The rest of the people followed Jiang Taishu and left in a flash. Not a single one was left. Huff! Xian Yinqing let out a long breath. Previously, she controlled the Sky Demon force field and trapped so many experts at the same time. She also had to continuously attack and deal with Jiang Taishu. The consumption was too great. Chapter 748. Huff huff! Fatty Kong Jin was also panting heavily. Just now, he seemed to be valiant and invincible, easily killing the 8 experts of the Wang clan, but in reality he used his full strength. Those were all extremely powerful experts. It was almost impossible for them to be killed in one move when they were at the same level. Every one of them was stronger than Qin Shan. Fatty had used all of his strength in order to create such an effect to intimidate Jiang Taishu and the others. He had used up a lot of his energy, and he could not maintain that terrifying combat strength for long. Fortunately, Jiang Taishu and the others were really scared away. I'm so tired. Fighting is really exhausting. I need to replenish my energy. As he spoke, a golden roasted lamb leg appeared in his hand, and he took a big bite out of it. Sister, we have to find brother-in-law Lu Ming as soon as possible and join forces. Jiang Taishu and the rest will definitely not take this lying down. Kong Jin shouted as he chewed on the lamb leg. Let me tell you, I'm not your sister. Lu Ming is not your brother-in-law. Xian Yinqing's eyes widened as he gnashed his teeth. Look, you're shy. You and Lu Ming will be together sooner or later. Your sister and I will be together sooner or later too. Don't worry. Kong Jin said as he chewed on the lamb leg. His fat body trembled as he spoke confidently. Xian Yinqing gritted his teeth. He was speechless and turned to leave. Brother Kong Jin, thank you for saving us. Kenfei Ryu cupped his fists and said, What are you thanking me for? We're all on the same side. Haha, sister, wait for me. Kong Jin twisted his fat body and chased after Xian Yinqing. Kenfei Ryu smiled bitterly. Kong Jin was really a weirdo. The 3 of them searched for others to obtain Monument Qi while they searched for Lu Ming. As for Jiang Taishu, Wang Ju, and the others, they were also gathering the experts of the Jiang clan and Wang clan, as well as the people of the Long clan. They also wanted to rope in the Dongfang clan and the other two clans. However, the people of the two clan masters were clearly not interested and did not agree. Time flew by quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was already the third day. There were still a few hours before the end of the 3 days. Lu Ming was unaware of all this. For the past few days, he had been seizing monument qi. As long as the people he encountered voluntarily handed over their monument qi, he would not make things difficult for them. If the other party refused to comply, he would not be lenient either. As more and more people were eliminated, the remaining people gathered more and more monument qi. Every time he captured a person, he would obtain a large amount of monument qi. Lu Ming already had over 2,000 strands of monument qi. There were more than 10,000 people who entered this time. In total, there were more than 30,000 strands of monument qi. He had obtained more than 2,000, which was already quite a lot. It was almost certain that he would enter the top 50 or even more. For the past few days, I haven't met the Jiang clan and Wang clan. Also, where is Xiao Qing and the others? I haven't met them either. Lu Ming pondered. He did not know if he was lucky or unlucky. 2,000 strands of monument qi is definitely not enough. There are still a few hours before the time to leave. I'll block the exit and wait for the Jiang clan and Wang clan to arrive. I'll take all their monument qi. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. His thoughts were actually similar to Jiang Taishu and the others. Jiang Taishu and the others were gathering people to ambush Lu Ming at the exit. As for Lu Ming, he wanted to take the monument qi of the Jiang clan and Wang clan. Thinking of this, Lu Ming flew towards the exit. The exit of the Sky King's Monument World was at the center of the Sky King's Monument World. Once the 3 days were up, he would have to leave through the exit. After 3 days, even if he killed others, he would not be able to take the monument qi. As he got closer to the exit, he saw a few figures. Xian Yinqing, Kenfei Ryu, and Kong Jin. Lu Ming was overjoyed and flew towards them. Lu Ming! Brother Lu! Xian Yinqing and Kenfei Ryu's eyes lit up. They had been looking for Lu Ming for a long time, but they could not find him. Hence, they wandered around the exit and waited for Lu Ming. As expected, they met him. "Ha, brother-in-law, we have been looking for you for a long time." Kong Jin stepped forward and grinned. "Brother-in-law?" Lu Ming was puzzled. Since when did he become this fatty's brother-in-law? "Yeah, she's my wife's sister. Doesn't that make you my brother-in-law?" Kong Jin pointed at Xian Yinqing and said. Xian Yinqing's face darkened as he gritted his teeth. Lu Ming's lips trembled. This fatty was really talented. Xian Yinjuan's aloof figure involuntarily appeared in Lu Ming's mind. She was like a holy fairy, aloof, looking down on others. If Xian Yinjuan knew that this fatty had treated her as his wife, what kind of expression would she have? For some reason, Lu Ming was looking forward to it. "How have you been these few days? Did you meet anyone from the Jiang family and the Wang family?" Lu Ming said. Kenfei Ryu and Xian Yinqing's faces darkened. "Why, did you meet them?" Lu Ming's expression changed. "That's right. Not only did we meet them, but we also had a big battle. If Brother Kong didn't save us in time, Miss Xie and I would have been in danger." Kenfei Ryu sighed. "Lu Ming, did you defeat Jiang Taishu?" Xian Yinqing asked. "That's right." Lu Ming nodded. Jiang Taishu teamed up with the Wang family and killed all the people from the Golden Sword sect. They even wanted to capture us to threaten you, Xian Yinqing said. "What?" In an instant, Lu Ming was enraged and cold killing intent erupted from his body. Immediately, Xian Yinqing briefly recounted what had happened during this period. "Jiang Taishu deserves to die." Lu Ming bellowed furiously. He did not expect Jiang Taishu to be so despicable. Jiang Taishu was no match for him, but he had gathered his men to kill the people from the Golden Sword sect. He even wanted to capture Xian Yinqing and the rest to threaten him so that he would not harm them. Was this the prodigy of an ancient family? Then they should have gathered people and waited for us at the exit. Good, very good. This time, I will definitely kill Jiang Taishu. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning, and his killing intent was cold. Brother Lu, they have more people. Are you confident? Kenfei Ryu said. Since they have more people, I'll take them down one by one. Little Qing, wait a moment, I'll need your cooperation. We'll go all out and clean up the trash first. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning. Ha, good. Interesting, interesting. Watch me show my might this time. Kong Jin took out a beast leg and gnawed on it, saying that it was to replenish his strength. The four of them rested for a while and adjusted themselves to their peak state before heading toward the exit. At this time, many people had gathered at the exit. Jiang Taishu had brought more than 30 experts from the Jiang family. Wang Ju had brought more than 20 experts from the Wang family. In addition, Luan Zhan was a prodigy of the ancient family, and he was as famous as Jiang Taishu. He had also brought more than 20 experts from the Luan family. The three groups had gathered, and there were nearly 80 people. This was a terrifying force. Every one of them was an expert among the peak-level kings. Some of them could even compete for the top 108. Chapter 749. In the outside world, the images on the Heavenly King Steel were being exchanged between Lu Ming's group and Jiang Taishu's group. Lu Ming's group is about to reach the exit. They'll meet Jiang Taishu's group soon. Jiang Taishu, Wang Ju, and Luan Zhan have close to 80 experts. Lu Ming's group is no match for them. Aren't they courting death if they rush in? Maybe they have a way out? This battle will definitely be exciting. Many people's eyes lit up as they stared at the images on the Heavenly King Steel. There were also many people discussing it. Boom! Boom! At this moment, the crowd suddenly felt two deep auras above their heads. The immense pressure was like an ancient, sacred mountain pressing down on them. Everyone looked up in horror. In the sky, two figures had appeared out of nowhere. Two young figures. One of them was wearing a purple robe and looked like a nobleman. However, he exuded an extremely hot aura, like a sun floating in the sky. The other person was wearing a black robe and had his hands behind his back. He looked like a peerless divine weapon that could destroy the sky. That's Wang Yan. Wang Yan from the Wang family, and Jiang Taichung. Jiang Taichung and Wang Yan are ranked in the top 100 of the list of top 1,000 talents. Why are they here? Shouldn't they be in seclusion in the secret place, preparing for the Battle of Providence? Yeah, they shouldn't be interested in the Heavenly King Steel. The crowd discussed in shock. Jiang Taishu is getting more and more useless. I thought he would be able to get first place after 3 years of silence. Jiang Taichung smiled faintly with his hands behind his back. The new rising stars this year are quite interesting. Wang Yan also smiled faintly. They are interesting, but their cultivation is too weak. It's not worth mentioning. Jiang Taishu looked at the images on the Heavenly King Steel as if he was watching a good show. If they hadn't been passing by, they wouldn't have bothered to watch the Heavenly King Steel. Their goal was the Battle of Providence. The others suppressed their shock and continued watching the images. At this moment, Lu Ming's group was getting closer and closer to the exit. Finally, the two sides met. Boom! 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 When Jiang Taishu and the others saw Lu Ming and the others, powerful auras erupted from their bodies. Lu Ming, you're finally here. I've been waiting for a long time. Jiang Taishu said coldly. Waiting for me? What? Are you not convinced of your defeat last time? You want to fight me again? Sure, I'll accompany you any time. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Jiang Taishu clenched his teeth and his face darkened. Lu Ming had touched a sore spot. Moreover, he knew very well that he was no match for Lu Ming, so why would he fight him? Lu Ming, don't think that I'm afraid of you. However, this is not a battle stage. I have a better way to defeat you. Why should we fight? Jiang Taishi said. If you're scared, just say so. If you don't dare, just say so. Stop pretending to be so dignified. What other methods do you have? You're just relying on numbers to win. Lu Ming said disdainfully. The winner is king, and the loser is a bandit. Don't you understand this principle? Let's fight together. At this point, Jiang Taishu no longer cared about his face. He only had one thought in his mind, and that was to kill Lu Ming. In his opinion, Lu Ming was the one who had caused him to lose face. If Lu Ming wasn't so strong, if Lu Ming had allowed him to kill him from the beginning, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Everything was Lu Ming's fault. The Jiang family, Wang family, and Luan family rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. The combined aura of almost 80 experts was terrifying. Retreat, Lu Ming said in a low voice. The four of them quickly retreated. Then, the four of them split up and retreated in 4 different directions. Don't run if you have the guts. Jiang Taishi shouted. Fight me one-on-one if you have the guts. Lu Ming sneered. Wang Ju, Luan Zhan, let's kill one person each. Jiang Taishi shouted. He led more than 30 experts of the Jiang family to chase after Lu Ming. Wang Ju charged towards Xian Yinqing. Luan Zhan led his men to kill Kong Jin. As for Kenfei Ryu, they didn't care about him at all. As long as they killed Lu Ming and the other 2. Killing Kenfei Ryu would be a piece of cake. Xian Yinqing's body was like an illusion. He turned into a series of phantoms, and his speed was extremely fast. He kept changing his position in the air. Kong Jin was like a ferocious beast, running wildly in the air. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming used the 9 dragons, heaven-stomping steps. His body turned into a stream of light, and he instantly appeared beside the Wang family. Xian Yinqing's body flickered, leaving behind a series of phantoms. He pressed his hands together, and the sky demon force field exploded, enveloping a part of the Wang family. Exploding star fist. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and threw out hundreds of punches. Hundreds of fist auras drowned 7 or 8 Wang family experts. Destruction cut, Xian Yinqing whispered, and the destruction cut burst out. There was a series of miserable screams. Ah, damn it. Wang Ju charged towards Xian Yinqing crazily. However, after Lu Ming threw out hundreds of punches, his body flashed, and he appeared beside Xian Yinqing. He used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and turned into a stream of light, leaving this place. The 7 or 8 Wang family experts who were enveloped by Xian Yinqing just now were already dead. In the next moment, Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing appeared behind the Jiang family again. Xian Yinqing pressed his hands together, and the sky demon force field enveloped 7 or 8 Jiang family experts. Lu Ming, on the other hand, threw out hundreds of fist gleams. They didn't pick on Jiang Taishu. There were a few other extremely powerful people. They picked on the weaker ones. These 7 or 8 people were also successfully killed. Damn it, kill! Jiang Taishu changed his direction and charged towards Lu Ming crazily. However, Lu Ming hugged Xian Yinqing. His figure changed, and he appeared in another location. The 2 of them attacked together and killed another 5 or 6 experts of the Jiang family. Lu Ming's 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps was too fast. It was a divine-level martial technique, and no one at the same level could compete with it. Damn it, Lu Ming, don't run if you have the guts. Stop and fight me face to face. Jiang Taishu roared. Okay, one-on-one. Lu Ming's voice came out. Jiang Taishu didn't say anything. Lu Ming's body flashed continuously, and more than 10 Jiang family and Wang family experts were killed. Steel qi kept flying towards Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Both of them had more than 3,000 steel qi. Miserable, too miserable. Jiang Taishu had brought more than 30 experts with him. Now there were only a dozen left, and all of them looked pale. Wang Ju was even more miserable. He only had 5 or 6 people with him. Ah, Lu Ming, I want you dead. Wang Ju roared. Gather, let's gather together. Don't split up. Jiang Taishu roared. The 3 groups quickly gathered together. Jiang Taishu, Wang Ju, and Wan Zhan led their strongest experts to guard 3 directions, in case Lu Ming sneak attacked. Lu Ming and the others also surrounded Jiang Taishu and the others. This scene was extremely comical. Chapter 750. In the outside world, the others were also stunned. Previously, Jiang Taishu, Wang Ju, and Wan Zhan had led close to 80 experts from the 3 ancient aristocratic families to kill Lu Ming. However, out of 80 people, dozens of them had died. The remaining people were even surrounded by Lu Ming and the other 3. This scene was destined to spread and become the laughingstock of the eastern wilderness. At this moment, Jiang Taishu, Wang Ju, and Wan Zhan's expressions were extremely ugly. They wished they could crush Lu Ming and the other 3 into ashes. They knew that after today, they would definitely become a laughingstock. In the future, they would also be looked down upon by the other geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. They might even lose in the competition between their families. In the 6 ancient families, there were more geniuses than them. Everyone had to bravely move forward and step on the other geniuses before they could finally take over an ancient family. But if today's situation spread, they would probably never have the chance again. How could they not hate and be angry? Jiang Taishu, what's wrong? You're not going to attack? In that case, you won't have a share of the first place. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Lu Ming, I swear that from now on, there will be no place for you in the eastern wilderness. Jiang Taishu roared. Haha, Jiang Taishu, don't flatter yourself. Do you think the Jiang family will send an elder to stand up for you after what you've done today? Lu Ming sneered. Jiang Taishu gritted his teeth. He knew that Lu Ming was right. If he wanted to make trouble for Lu Ming, he could only use his own power. But I don't want to let this go. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. I must avenge the 9 lives of the Golden Sword sect. Today I will kill you. Haha, Lu Ming, you just relied on your speed to escape. Do you dare to fight me head-on? Jiang Taishu sneered. As you wish. Lu Ming stepped forward, his long hair fluttering in the wind, his battle intent soaring. Just now, he had successfully weakened the strength of Jiang Taishu and the others. Now, it was time for a head-on battle. Lu Ming, leave the Wang family to me. I'll hold them back. Xian Yinqing moved and appeared in front of Wang Ju and the others. Miss Xia, I'll go with you. Kenfei Ryu appeared beside Xian Yinqing, intending to help her. Brother Kong, how about we hold the Wan family? Lu Ming looked at Kong Jin and said, Haha, leave them to me. I'll let them know my power. Kong Jin said with a grin. There were very few people of the same level who could give Lu a sense of danger, Jiang Taishu and Luan. Among those at the same level, Jiang were all, were Jiang, S's were. Although Wan Zhan was strong, he was not one of the previous 10 heavenly kings. He was ranked 602 on the list of top 1,000 talents, slightly weaker than Jiang Taishu and Wang Ju. Kong Jin should be able to hold him off for a while. Jiang, worst Jiang. Jiang, S. Jiang, and the others' Jiang family. The others were also shocked. Lu Ming and the others were going to take the initiative and attack. It was unbelievable. The peak kings of the 3 big families were all experts, some of whom could compete for the top 108. Yet they were going to attack with only 4 people. This had never happened before in history. Interesting. Even Dongfang, Hao, and Reverend 3 Corpses, who were spirit embryo realm experts, were looking forward to it. Sky Demon Force Field. Xian Yinqing took the lead, and the Sky Demon Force Field enveloped Wang Ju and the others. There were only 6 people left in the Wang family. However, they were all experts. Attack! Wang Ju shouted. The 6 people of the Wang family were like 6 blazing suns, trying to break through the sky demon force field and rush towards Xian Yinqing. However, within the sky demon force field, a terrifying cutting power exploded. Other than Wang Ju, the others found it difficult to break through. A dazzling golden light shone as Kenfei Ryu rushed into the sky demon force field. He didn't attack Wang Ju, but instead, he moved around the sky demon force field. His sharp sword light stabbed at the other 5 people, hindering their movements. Xian Yinqing executed the sky demon hand and attacked Wang Ju. Wang Ju was at a disadvantage and was suppressed by Xian Yinqing. Haha, watch me. Sky suppressing devil axe. Kong Jin laughed out loud. His fat body actually swelled up again. The door-like battle axe in his hand slashed wildly at the Luan family members. Boom! Boom! Kong Jin stepped on the void, and the space trembled. Every slash of his axe seemed to be able to split open the sky and destroy everything. 8 slashes defying battle. Luan Zhan executed the Luan family's unique skill. Slash after slash, the 8 slashes converged into one and collided with Kong Jin's battle axe. However, the battle axe in Luan Zhan's hand shook violently and almost shattered. His body retreated like a cannonball, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Luan Zhan, who was ranked 602 on the list of top 1,000 talents, vomited blood after being hit by Kong Jin's battle axe. Earth essence and shattering essence. Luan Zhan shouted in disbelief. Kong Jin had cultivated 2 extremely terrifying essences, the earth essence and shattering essence. Moreover, both of them were at level 2 and had been successfully merged. How terrifying was it to have successfully merged 2 special essences? Haha die. Kong Jin charged toward the Luan family with his door-like battle axe. Puff! Puff! Kong Jin killed several people in succession, and no one could stop him. Let's kill him together! Luan Zhan shouted. The Sky King tablet world was a world of pure martial arts. It couldn't even form a battle array, so it could only gather everyone's strength to fight against Kong Jin. Nearly 30 experts from the Luan family attacked at the same time, and dozens of attacks poured toward Kong Jin. Hey, there are too many people. It's not easy to fight. Kong Jin waved his battle axe and formed an iron wall to block the attacks. His fat jiggled nonstop. Then he looked for an opportunity to counterattack. The Luan family members didn't dare to be distracted. They could only gather together and attack Kong Jin continuously. Otherwise, Kong Jin would seize the opportunity to counterattack and kill one of them. The Wang family and the Luan family were both held back. Jiang Taishu's face darkened. Kill! Lu Ming didn't waste any more time. He strode forward, and his aura burst out one after another. In the end, for different essences surrounded him, and his aura was raised to the limit. Let's work together, Jiang Taishu shouted. With him as the leader, the remaining experts of the Jiang family joined forces to attack Lu Ming. Suppress heaven and earth, I'm invincible. Lu Ming roared and used the hell-suppressing heaven skill, striking out with his palm. Boom! A dazzling light flashed. The joint attack of the Jiang family members was broken by Lu Ming's palm. Lu Ming moved forward and struck out with his palm again. Pum! An old man met Lu Ming's palm, and his body was torn into pieces. How can he be so strong? Jiang Taishu shouted in disbelief. I didn't use my full strength last time, and you managed to escape. This time you will die. Lu Ming roared and struck out with both of his palms. Last time, Lu Ming had only unleashed 2 types of concepts, wind and thunder. This time, he unleashed all 4 types of concepts. Lu Ming's combat ability had reached its current peak. Pum! Pum! Chapter 751. Kill him. Jiang Taishu seized the opportunity and slashed at Lu Ming's waist with his palm. However, Lu Ming did not dodge or evade. His spine twisted like a huge dragon, trembling slightly and colliding with Jiang Taishu's palm. Pum! With a muffled explosion, Jiang Taishu's body trembled and he was pushed back. Impossible! Jiang Taishu yelled in disbelief. His palm that could break anything slashed at Lu Ming's waist. Not only did it not cut Lu Ming in half, but he was also pushed back by Lu Ming. How could this be? How could he know the wonders of the suppressing hell art? The suppressing hell art could not only be cultivated to the hands and feet, but also to the other parts of the body. When cultivated to the highest level, every muscle in the body could explode with the enormous power of the suppressing hell art and suppress everything. After this period of cultivation, Lu Ming's suppressing hell art had improved again. Not only could he attack with his hands and feet, but he could also attack with his waist. Just now, it was his waist that had pushed Jiang Taishu back. What a terrifying bloodline martial skill. It should be a demigod bloodline martial skill. Dongfang Hao's eyes flickered as he spoke slowly. Demigod bloodline martial skill? How terrifying! Many people exclaimed. Normally speaking, one would need to be at least at the Sea of Souls realm to comprehend demigod-level martial arts from the bloodline. Moreover, it would be hard for normal bloodlines to comprehend demigod-level martial arts. Only those with god-level bloodlines would be able to comprehend demigod-level martial arts easily. If one wanted to bring out the power of a demigod bloodline martial skill, one would need to be at the Sea of Soul realm or above. King realm cultivators didn't have enough Jinyuan and couldn't bring out much power. However, it was obvious that Lu Ming had comprehended a demigod bloodline martial skill at the King realm. Kill! Lu Ming's left hand exploded with a terrifying devouring power that enveloped the Jiang family members. His right hand was like the suppressing hell steel that pressed down. Enveloped by the devouring power, the Jiang family members felt their bloodline power become unstable. Their essence blood was faintly pulsing, and their battle strength weakened by a bit. Pum! Pum! Lu Ming struck out with a palm and a kick. 2 Jiang family experts were killed. In just a few breaths of time, 6 Jiang clan experts were killed by Lu Ming. He was incomparably ferocious. How can he be so strong? How can he be so strong? Jiang Taishu's eyes widened, as if he couldn't accept this. Jiang Taishu has lost his will to fight. He is doomed. Someone sighed. Run, run. This man is a monster. Run. Jiang Taishu suddenly shouted. His confidence collapsed. He turned around and ran towards the exit. The exit was like a door. Once someone ran in, they would be teleported out. You can't run away. Lu Ming took a step forward. His body was like a flowing light. He caught up with Jiang Taishu in a few moves and struck a palm at him. Bang! Jiang Taishu was sent flying, coughing up blood. His eyes were filled with terror. Save me! Save me! Wang Jue and Aizhan, save me! Jiang Taishu shouted. At this moment, he no longer had the arrogance and ambition he had before the start of the Heavenly King list battle. He was like a pitiful rat crossing the street, a pitiful worm. Now, he didn't want to do anything. He just wanted to live. But at this moment, how could Wang Jue and Aizhan save him? Their own hearts were in a perilous situation, and they were extremely shocked. Swoosh! Swoosh! At this moment, several figures flew over and stopped in the distance. Gui, save me. Let's work together and kill this man. Did you see how much monument chi he has? With him around, you won't be able to get first place. Jiang Taishu shouted crazily. The people who came later were the experts of the Heavenly Corpse sect. The leader was a young man covered in a black robe. His eyes were ghastly. Gui glanced around and was a little shocked. But when he saw the monument chi of the Heavenly King monument above Lu Ming's head, his eyes flashed with killing intent. Lu Ming's monument chi was much more than his. Not only Lu Ming, but also Xian Yinqing and Kong Jin had more monument chi. Gue was also one of the 10 heavenly kings in the previous heavenly king list. He was ranked 9th. He also wanted to get first place. Gue, hurry up and do something. If this man rises, it will be bad for your heavenly corpse sect. Jiang Taishi shouted, shameless. Many people in the outside world despised him. Jiang Taishi was too shameless. He actually wanted to work together with Gue to kill Lu Ming. The reason was that Lu Ming's rise was bad for the heavenly corpse sect. Jiang Taishi was from the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, and Lu Ming was also from the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. This made many people from the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace furious. The Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect were arch-enemies. Dongfang Hao and the others shook their heads. Jiang Taishu's words would definitely be reported back to the Jiang family. Jiang Taishu also knew that if these words were to spread, he would be despised and despised. But there was no other way. What was more important than his life now? Bam! He was hit by Lu Ming's palm again. His arm, which was harder than a spiritual weapon, was directly shattered. Gue, do something. Jiang Taishi shouted. Gue Yi's eyes flashed, and he was about to step out. Gue, I advise you not to do anything. Even I am not confident of defeating this man. Suddenly, a figure appeared beside Gue, and a hoarse voice was heard. It was the Corpse King. Even you are not confident of defeating him. Gue Yi's eyes were filled with horror. Yes, don't you see how miserable Jiang Taishu is? If you do anything, you might die here. It's better for us to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight, the Corpse King said hoarsely. Gue, he let out a long breath and took a few steps back. He did not make a move. Ah! Jiang Taishu shouted in despair. Jiang Taishu, no one can save you today. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. Lu Ming, spare me. I am the Jiang family's genius. Killing me will not do you any good. Spare me. Jiang Taishu finally started to beg for mercy. Sparing you will not do me any good. Kill. A terrifying devouring power enveloped Jiang Taishu as Gue Yi's palm slashed down. Pum! Half of Jiang Taishu's body exploded, and only half of his life was left. His eyes were filled with despair and begging. Lu Ming did not move. He stepped out, and Jiang Taishu was torn apart. Jiang Taishu, who was ranked 6th in the previous Heavenly King ranking, had been killed by Lu Ming. Devouring power erupted, and Jiang Taishu's essence blood was devoured. Devouring the essence blood of a peak-tier king wasn't much help to Lu Ming, but it was better than nothing. Retreat, retreat, let's retreat. At this moment, Wang Ju Wanzhan and the others no longer had the will to fight. They frantically retreated, flying toward the exit. Jiang Taishu was dead, and the remaining members of the Jiang family had escaped. Even if they stayed, their fates would be miserable. Wang Ju took the lead, breaking through Xian Yinqing's heavenly demon force field and flying toward the exit. The other members of the Wang family followed. Lu Ming swept his gaze around, and his body turned into a streak of light as he charged toward the Wang family. Boom! Before he arrived, a fist shot out, stopping one of the members of the Wang family. Chapter 752. Lu Ming, what are you doing? Wang Nye shouted, his face pale. What am I doing? Didn't you and Wang Mang work together to knock me down the abyss when I challenged the Heavenly King Steel? I'm a vengeful person. Lu Ming sneered, revealing his killing intent. The other members of the Wang family couldn't care less about Wang Nye. They all rushed toward the exit. No, I was confused. Please let me go. Wang Nye's face was pale, and he almost wet himself. Lu Ming was simply a demon. He didn't even let Jiang Taishu off. He wasn't afraid of the Jiang family, so why would he be afraid of the Wang family? Therefore, he didn't dare to mention the Wang family and could only beg for mercy. It's too late. Lu Ming stepped forward and struck out with his palm. Art, I'll fight it out with you. Seeing that begging was useless, Wang Ye could only fight with his life on the line. However, facing Lu Ming, who was at his strongest, his fate was sealed. With one strike, Wang Ye was torn into pieces. The interspatial ring and essence blood all belonged to Lu Ming. Of course, there was also the steel qi. At this moment, the Luan family, Wang Ju, and the others had already rushed through the door and disappeared. This Lu Ming is quite bold. He doesn't give my Wang family any face. In the outside world, Wang Yan licked his lips with a trace of killing intent in his eyes. Jiang Taichung's face was also ugly. In his opinion, no matter how weak Jiang Taishu was, he was still a genius of the Jiang family. Now that Lu Ming had killed Jiang Taishu in front of everyone, he didn't give the Jiang family any face. In the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, how many people dared to not give face to the ancient families? This made them feel ashamed as well. In their position, they didn't care about Jiang Taishu or Wang Ye's life or death. However, to disregard the ancient families was a great crime. This Lu Ming said in front of everyone that the Wang family is nothing. If he is an ancient aristocratic family by himself, then an old man from the Wang family arrived beside Wang Yan. He alone is an ancient family? He's just a king. No matter how strong he is, what's the use? In the face of an even stronger opponent, isn't he still able to suppress them with a single hand? Anger flashed across Wang Yan's eyes. Indeed, he doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Jiang Taichung also spoke. Lu Ming naturally did not know that 2 top 100 geniuses from the list of top 1,000 talents had appeared outside, nor did he know that he had offended them. However, even if he knew, he wouldn't care. He looked in the direction of the people from the Heavenly Corpse sect. He didn't have a good impression of the Heavenly Corpse sect. If he had the chance, he wouldn't mind killing a few geniuses of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Dong! The Corpse King stepped out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. Corpse chi emanated from his body, flowing like liquid. A ferocious glint flashed in his eyes, and a strong fighting spirit emanated from him. Lu Ming, you're very strong. If we really fight, then I'm not confident in my ability to defeat you. However, it's only the Heavenly King rankings now, and both of us are at the King realm. So, it can only be considered as a small matter before the battle of karmic luck. How about we meet in the battle of karmic luck? The Corpse King's hoarse voice rang out. Battle of Providence? Good. I hope you won't disappoint me when the time comes. Lu Ming said, and the fighting spirit in his eyes bloomed. Just like Kong Jin, the Corpse King also gave him a sense of danger. He was definitely a terrifying opponent, and not someone like Jiang Taishu could compare to. That's what I wanted to say. Don't die before the battle of karmic luck. There aren't many good opponents. After the Corpse King finished speaking, he glanced at Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin. His eyes were also filled with fighting spirit, and then he strode towards the exit. As the Corpse King stepped in, the others also stepped in and disappeared into the portal. After a while, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the other 2 also stepped into the portal. In the next moment, they appeared outside the Heavenly King Steel at the edge of the abyss. Lu Ming, look, names have appeared on the Heavenly King Steel. Xian Yanqing said to Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked back, and sure enough, on the Heavenly King Steel, golden names appeared one after another. They were the rankings of the Heavenly King Steel. The first place was written with 2 big words, Lu Ming. Lu Ming, first place. Without a doubt, Lu Ming had obtained the most steel qi. He had killed many experts from the Jiang and Wang families, and even killed Jiang Taishu. He had obtained all of their steel qi. His steel qi had far surpassed the others. Second place, Xian Yanqing. This was not surprising. Previously, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had joined hands to kill many experts from the Jiang and Wang families. Xian Yinqing had also obtained a lot of steel qi. Third place, Corpse King. Fourth place, Kong Jin. Fifth place, Dongfang Yu. Sixth place, Gui. Seventh place, Wang Ju. A series of rankings appeared on the Corpse King stele. Kenfei Ryu had also appeared on the rankings, entering the top 108. On the other side of the abyss, more than 100,000 people were looking over with various emotions in their eyes. There was envy, jealousy, anger, and so on. Let's go over. Lu Ming appeared, and the four of them flew over the abyss. The Heavenly King stele was still floating above their heads. This kind of Heavenly King stele phantom could help them reach the top of the first Heavenly King stele without being pressured or attacked. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, the crowd opened up a path for them. Lu Ming and the other three had become stronger. With just the four of them, they were able to defeat the Jiang, Wang, and Wan families' joint attack of almost 80 experts. It was truly unbelievable. Many people looked at them with awe in their eyes. Although they were all peak kings, Lu Ming and the others were much stronger than the others. Boom! Boom! Right at this moment, two boundless pressures suddenly pressed down on Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, Kong Jin, and Kenfei Ryu's expressions changed as they unleashed their power to resist. Even so, the four of them were still forced back. Kenfei Ryu even coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. Pung! Lu Ming circulated the true dragon combat art in his body. He took a heavy step and steadied himself, looking up. In the sky, two youths were flying over. One of them was covered in purple flames like a purple sun, emitting a terrifying temperature. The other one was like a peerless divine weapon, showing off its sharpness. The Jiang and Wang families. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. The auras from the two were easy to distinguish. Are Jiang Taichung and Wang Yan going to attack Lu Ming and the others? They are geniuses ranked in the top 100 of the list of top 1,000 talents. Their cultivation has long reached an extremely high level. Lu Ming and the others are only in the King realm. It doesn't make sense for them to attack King realm experts, right? It's hard to say. After all, Lu Ming killed Jiang Taishu and many experts from the two families. Whispers could be heard from all around. Lu Ming, how dare you kill the geniuses of the Jiang family? Do you know your crime? Jiang Taichung's eyes shot out two rays of sharp light like two divine swords. In the Heavenly King tablet, life and death are predestined. It's all about killing each other and seizing the tablet aura. If we can't kill the ancient families, is there still a need to hold the Heavenly King ranking battles in the future? Chapter 753. Jiang Taichung frowned his eyebrows after hearing Lu Ming's rebuttal. Lu Ming, you're right. The Heavenly King monument does not forbid killing. Their deaths are due to their incompetence. However, let me ask you, have you ever said that one person is equivalent to an ancient family? Wang Yan stood in midair as purple flames flickered around his body. A terrifying temperature was emitted from his body. The people nearby backed away as they could not stand the terrifying temperature. Yes. Lu Ming's reply was simple and clear. Ha ha ha. Ridiculous, this is ridiculous. Wang Yan burst out laughing as his eyes glistened like two tiny suns. How foolish and ignorant. Do you know what an ancient family represents? You dare to say that one person is comparable to an ancient family? How shameless. That's right. You think you have some strength, so you're arrogant. However, you're just an ignorant fool. No matter how strong your strength is, you're only a martial emperor. A martial emperor can only do menial tasks in an ancient family. There are many ancient families that can kill you. Any one of them could suppress you with a single palm strike. Jiang Taichung let out a hollow laugh. Just because I can't do it now doesn't mean I can't do it in the future. Lu Ming's eyes were firm and full of confidence. The future? You're just a martial emperor realm cultivator. Let me tell you, the Heavenly King ranking is just a child's game in the eyes of the true geniuses of the Eastern Barren Territory. The real competition between the geniuses of the Eastern Barren Territory lies above the martial Emperor realm. The Battle of Luck in a year's time will be the real battlefield for the geniuses. You guys are not even qualified to take part in it. Wang Yan's voice was filled with disdain. Wang Yan, why waste your time talking nonsense with them? I'll let them know how tiny they are before an ancient family. They're not even comparable to ants. Jiang Taichung took a step forward as a terrifying aura burst out from his body. It was as if countless swords were gathered on his body, emitting sharp glows. Each of the glows was like a sword that pressed down on Lu Ming and the others. At this moment, Lu Ming and the others' bodies violently shook. Their protective true essence was completely useless, and they were directly pierced through by that sharp light. It was as if their bodies were about to be pierced through. Strong, too strong. Jiang Taichung was definitely not an ordinary sea of Soul Realm warrior. He had already walked very far in the sea of Soul Realm. No matter how strong Lu Ming and his crew were, they were only martial emperors. The difference between them was too great, to the point that they had no chance of resisting. No matter how strong a martial king is, in front of absolute strength, he is still an ant. Jiang Taichung looked down at the crowd with a cold and indifferent voice. I'll kill you in the Battle of Providence. Lu Ming let out a long roar. The four-colored concept revolved around him as he did his best to resist. You want to kill me in the Battle of Providence? Jiang Taichung sneered, and the aura on his body became even stronger. Wang. At this moment, the Heavenly Monarch tablet above Lu Ming's head suddenly trembled and emitted a resplendent light. At the same time, the Heavenly Monarch tablet above Xian Yanqing, Kong Jin, and Kenfei Ryu vibrated and emitted a resplendent light. The light from the four of them gathered together. At this moment, the Heavenly Monarch tablet behind the four of them emitted a brilliant light as well. A giant Heavenly Monarch tablet suddenly appeared above Lu Ming and his crew. Bang! The Heavenly Monarch tablet's illusionary figure shuddered and dispersed Jiang Taichung's aura. Jiang Taishu took a few steps backward and stared at the giant Heavenly Monarch tablet with an unpleasant expression. Their suppression had caused the Heavenly Monarch tablet to react. A terrifying aura burst out from Wang Yan's body and pressed forward. However, he immediately followed Jiang Taichung's footsteps and was knocked backward. Protection of the Heavenly Monarch tablet, humph. Jiang Taichung harumphed coldly. Consider yourself lucky this time. Lu Ming, if you are really confident, head to the Nine Dragon City in the Tianwu domain. At that time, you will understand the true strength of the ancient families. You will also understand what it means to be a true genius, and how insignificant you are. Wang Yan glanced at Lu Ming and his crew and said flatly. Then he turned around and disappeared with a step. Jiang Taichung also turned around and left. This time, they did not really intend to attack Lu Ming and his crew. Just as the crowd had guessed with their cultivation, they could suppress Lu Ming and his crew with one hand. The difference between them was too great. If they attacked, they would end up with a reputation of bullying the weak. They only wanted to intimidate Lu Ming and the rest. They wanted to let them and everyone else understand the dignity and power of the ancient aristocratic families. At the same time, they wanted to prove their strength. No matter how strong a martial king was, he was still a martial king. They were also below the age of 30, but they had already gone far beyond the martial king level. Now that they had achieved their goal, they naturally left. Humph! What's so great about being in the top 100 of the list of top 1,000 talents? Sooner or later, I will surpass them one by one. Kong Jin snorted unhappily and took out a lamb leg to chew on. I wonder how many roasted lamb legs and barbecued meat this guy has stored. Lu Ming did not say anything, but his eyes were filled with a strong battle intent. Before he had the strength, it was useless to say anything. However, as Kong Jin had said, he would surpass them one day. Furthermore, Lu Ming believed that this day would not be too far away. He was comparable to an ancient family. This was Lu Ming's initial goal. Furthermore, he had to achieve it. If he could not even achieve this, how could he compete with the top martial emperor? Let's go! We will cultivate on the steps of the Heavenly King's steel. Lu Ming said and took a big step forward. The four of them headed toward the first Heavenly King's steel. When they arrived at the bottom of the Heavenly King's steel, they realized that there were already some people there. The corpse emperor was sitting cross-legged on the 26th step. Wang, Zhu, Guiyi, and the others were sitting cross-legged on the 25th step. There were a total of 27 steps on the Heavenly King's steel. The 21st to 27th steps were dark red in color. It was the reward for the top 108 in the Heavenly King ranking. Only they could go up. The 27th step was the highest, and only the first place could go up. The 26th step could go up. The second to fourth place could go up. The 25th step could go up. The 5th to 10th place could go up. The 24th step could go up. The 11th to 20th place could go up. The 21st step could go up. The 38th place could go up. The 108 spots were distributed among the 7 steps. Lu Ming soared into the air and flew toward the highest step. Above his head, the illusory image of the Heavenly King's steel shone down rays of light, enveloping Lu Ming. Without the protection of the illusory image of the Heavenly King's steel, climbing the dark red steps would only lead to death. Bang! Lu Ming landed on the highest step. In that instant, Lu Ming felt all sorts of extremely intense states. He even felt that there were experts fighting and cultivating. There were imprints left behind by supreme experts on the Heavenly King's steel. No one knew when the Heavenly King's steel was left behind. It had stood here for countless years. In history, many martial emperors wanted to move it away and take it for themselves. However, no one could do it. Therefore, they stayed here for a long time. Lu Ming immediately sat down cross-legged, capturing the various states and starting to comprehend them. The traces of the various states here were much stronger than the steps below. Chapter 754. Xian Yanqing, Kong Jin, and the others also flew up the stairs and started cultivating. Soon after, the top 108 people all gathered and sat cross-legged on the top 7 steps. They had half a month to cultivate. After half a month, the Sky King steel would return to normal and lose its mysterious effect. It would only open again after 3 years. Time flew by quickly. After 3 days, Lu Ming's fire concept broke through and reached the 2nd level of entry. Then he switched to the earth concept. The earth concept was much more difficult to cultivate. Lu Ming spent 10 days to break through and reach the 2nd level. Since then, Lu Ming's 4 concepts of heaven and earth had all broken through to the 2nd level. The conditions to enter the Sea of Soul Realm had been met. Lu Ming could enter the Sea of Soul Realm at any time. At this time, 13 days had passed. There were still 2 days left. In these 2 days, Lu Ming planned to continue comprehending the earth concept. Cultivating the earth concept was the most difficult. Lu Ming must grasp this opportunity. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. The earth concept had also made some progress, reaching the middle stage of the 2nd level entry. Soon, half a month's time would be up. Buzz! At this time, a message rushed into Lu Ming's mind. Lu Ming was stunned and carefully comprehended it. Then he was overjoyed. The message that rushed into Lu Ming's mind was actually a secret technique. The name of the secret technique was Super Spiritual Sea. Yes, the name was Super Spiritual Sea. According to the message, when a Sea of Soul Realm martial artist cultivated this secret technique, the area of their spiritual sea would be twice as large as others. The area of a Sea of Soul Realm martial artist's spiritual sea would be twice as large as others. This meant that the amount of genuine they could store would be twice as large as others. Naturally, their battle strength would be stronger. Previously, it was said that the first place of the Sky King Steel would receive a special reward from the Sky King Steel. Some were martial skills, some were cultivation methods, and some were secret techniques. What Lu Ming received was a secret technique. This was also the reason why Jiang Taishu and the others were determined to fight for the first place. With a secret art like Super Spirit Ocean, he would have an innate advantage among the Sea of Souls realm warriors. Haha, great. My genuine is already much stronger than ordinary people. With the Super Spirit Sea secret technique, my innate advantage will be even stronger. Lu Ming laughed in his heart. Although the 6 great ancient aristocratic families also practiced God-grade cultivation techniques, each type of God-grade cultivation technique specialized in a different direction. For example, the Wang family's heaven-burning raging flames art. After cultivating it, one's true essence would be like a heavenly fire that could burn everything. However, the thickness of the true essence was definitely not as thick as the true battle dragon art. The true dragon battle art leaned towards having abundant true essence. The combination of the Super Spirit Sea and the true battle dragon art complemented each other perfectly. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt that the heavenly king's steel above his head had dissipated. As for him, he could no longer feel any pressure or intent. The time was up, and the heavenly king's steel returned to normal. At this moment, everyone on the stairs opened their eyes. Go! Wang Ju and the others glanced at Lu Ming and hurriedly flew away, as if they were afraid that Lu Ming would attack them. The Corpse King and the others from the Heavenly Corpse sect also got up and left. Lu Ming, how's the harvest? Xian Yinqing looked at Lu Ming. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded and then asked, You've broken through your intent realm? I've broken through. Next, I'll break through to the Spirit Sea realm. Xian Yinqing said, Haha, I'm also going to break through to the Spirit Sea realm. Kong Jin grinned. I also plan to break through to the Spirit Sea realm. Kenfei Ryu also said. This time, many people had made great progress. After the Heavenly King ranking battle, many people would probably choose to break through to the Spirit Sea realm, such as Wang Ju and the Corpse King. After all, the War of Providence was getting closer and closer. There was only 1 year and 3 months left. The War of Providence was the key. All right, then let's find a place to break through. Lu Ming smiled. Now that he had accumulated enough supreme spiritual crystals, he had to break through to the Spirit Sea realm. Only by breaking through to the Spirit Sea realm could he compete with the top geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. The 4 of them rose into the air and flew into the distance. They did not fly to the city, but to the wilderness. Brother-in-law, what good stuff did you get from the top step? Kong Jin looked at Lu Ming sneakily. Fatty, you're not allowed to call him brother-in-law, and you're not allowed to call me sister. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Xian Yinqing gritted his teeth and looked at Kong Jin gloomily. Kong Jin shuddered and said, You don't have to be like this. I'm just calling you that to sound friendly. If I don't call you that, how can I call you that? It's up to you. Call me by my name. Xian Yinqing said through gritted teeth. All right. Kong Jin pulled a long face, then looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, you haven't told me what good stuff you got. It's indeed good stuff. Lu Ming smiled and did not hide it. It's a secret skill. After the Spirit Sea realm, the area of the Spirit Sea can be doubled. What? Kong Jin, Xian Yinqing, and Kenfei Ryu were all shocked. Haha, Lu Ming, you and I are family. Can you share it? Kong Jin looked at Lu Ming sneakily. Sure, buy it with spiritual crystals. Lu Ming said, "Buy it with spiritual crystals? I don't have that many spiritual crystals. How about this? I'll give you primordial stones." Kong Jean thought for a moment. Then a bag appeared in his hand. He threw it to Lu Ming and said, "There are 100 primordial stones in it. See if it's enough?" Primordial stones. You have so many primordial stones. Except for Xian Yinqing, Lu Ming, and Kenfei Ryu all widened their eyes in shock. Primordial stones were similar to spiritual crystals. They contained a huge amount of energy. However, the energy in primordial stones was not the spiritual qi of heaven and earth in spiritual crystals, but primordial qi of heaven and earth. Primordial qi was purer than spiritual qi by many times. The energy consumed by warriors above the spirit sea realm was too terrifying. If they used spiritual crystals, it would be tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. The higher the realm, the more terrifying it would be. However, it was different with primordial stones. Primordial qi was extremely high level and could be quickly converted into genuine qi. A low-grade primordial stone was worth millions of spiritual crystals. The fatty gave Lu Ming 100 pieces of inferior-grade raw stones. They were worth hundreds of millions of supreme-grade spirit crystals. It should be known that ordinary spirit sea realm warriors did not have primordial stones. Normally, only warriors above the spirit sea realm would have primordial stones and use them to cultivate. Okay, that's enough. Lu Ming put away the primordial stones and took out 3 jade plates. He engraved the information of the super spirit sea into the jade plates and then threw one of them to Kong Jean. This time, they had experienced a life-and-death battle. Lu Ming had already regarded Kong Jean as a friend. Although the super spirit sea secret technique was precious, he would not be stingy. Chapter 755. Lu Ming, I don't have any primordial stones. Kenfei Ryu caught the jade pendant in a daze. Brother Jian, you don't need any primordial stones. Take it and cultivate. Lu Ming smiled. No, it's too precious. Kenfei Ryu still refused despite his desire. Brother Jian, you're so polite. Do you not see me as a friend? Lu Ming asked. How could that be? It's my honor to be friends with Brother Lu. Kenfei Ryu said. Then it's settled. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming, thank you. Kenfei Ryu held the jade pendant tightly and looked touched. Even if they were friends, not many people would share such a precious secret technique with him. As for Xian Yinqing, he kept the jade pendant without saying a word. Hey, why am I the only one who wants to buy the primordial stones? They don't want it. It's not fair. Kong Jean complained. Because you're filthy rich. Lu Ming smiled. How am I filthy rich? It's not fair, it's not fair. Kong Jean continued to complain. Soon, they flew hundreds of thousands of miles and arrived at a remote and barren mountain. The 4 of them landed. Lu Ming waved his hands and started to carve an inscription formation on the ground. Breaking through to the spiritual sea was no small matter and could not be disturbed. Lu Ming started to carve an inscription formation in this area. If there were any abnormalities, he would be able to sense it. After setting up the formation, everyone chose a place to cultivate in seclusion. Lu Ming, with your cultivation method, you need a lot of energy to break through to the spiritual sea. Take these primordial stones. Xian Yinqing walked to Lu Ming and threw a bag to Lu Ming. He then turned and disappeared into a mountain. 200 primordial stones. Lu Ming opened it and found that there were 200 low-grade ores inside. Lu Ming smiled and kept the origin stone. His figure flashed, and he rushed into a mountain. In the next moment, he appeared in the Temple of Paragon. Dandan was lying in a corner, nibbling on a spirit herb in a very leisurely manner. Kid, are you ready to break through to the Sea of Souls realm? Dandan glanced at Lu Ming and said, That's right. Lu Ming nodded. Your true yuan is extremely abundant, so the danger of breaking through the spiritual sea realm will increase greatly. Luckily, you've cultivated 4 wills, so it should be fine. Let me protect you. Dandan walked over. Lu Ming nodded and sat down cross-legged. With a wave of his hand, piles of supreme-grade spiritual crystals appeared around him. During this period of time, Lu Ming had killed many enemies and gathered all their spirit crystals together. There were more than 500 million spirit crystals. Lu Ming estimated that 500 million should be enough. Bang! Bang! His true yuan vibrated and the piles of spiritual crystals exploded. The 9 dragons' bloodline devoured the spiritual crystals and started to refine them. Lu Ming used the true dragon fighting art to convert the energy into true yuan. Rumble! The cyclone spun wildly, and a large amount of true yuan gathered in it. Lu Ming started to compress the cyclone. As time passed, Lu Ming's cyclone became smaller and smaller. However, his true yuan also became more condensed and reached a terrifying level. To open the spiritual sea, one had to compress the cyclone to the maximum and then explode it. Yes, an explosion. At the moment of the explosion, a terrifying amount of energy would be generated and a spiritual sea would be opened in the Dantian. The spiritual sea was an ocean of true yuan. The amount of true yuan it could contain was much more than the cyclone. There was a limit to the amount of true yuan a cyclone could contain. Without opening the spiritual sea, one would never be able to break through. However, this process was extremely dangerous. If one was not careful, one's dantian would explode and even one's entire body would explode. Therefore, one had to use intent to protect the body. One had to use intent to block the energy of the explosion and gather it in a certain area to open the spiritual sea. Lu Ming's true yuan was too condensed, so the power of the explosion would naturally be stronger. If one only used one intent to protect the body, it would not be able to block it and would be very dangerous. Fortunately, Lu Ming had 4 intents. Compress, continue compressing. Half a day later, the cyclone had been compressed to the maximum and formed a point. A shocking amount of energy spread out from it. Success or failure depends on this. Explode! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with determination. With a thought, the cyclone that had been compressed to the maximum exploded. Boom! Boom! It was like the beginning of the world. A shocking amount of energy burst out and destroyed everything. Block it! The 4 intents of heaven and earth gathered together and formed layers of defense in the Dantian. Rumble! The berserk energy wreaked havoc. Lu Ming's Dantian was torn apart and formed a crack. This crack was rapidly expanding. Slowly, the crack formed a pool of water. The pool of water grew larger and larger, and its surface area grew larger and larger. The spiritual sea was opening. This process only happened in an instant. In the next moment, the berserk energy calmed down and a pool of about 10 meters in diameter was formed. This pool was the spiritual sea. When one first broke through, the area would not be very big. As one's cultivation increased, it would become bigger and bigger. When an ordinary person broke through to the spiritual sea, their spiritual sea would not be as big as Lu Ming's. Lu Ming cultivated the true dragon battle art and was able to open such a large spiritual sea at the beginning. Lu Ming had successfully opened the spiritual sea without any danger. This was normal. After all, Lu Ming had comprehended 4 intents and successfully merged them. No matter how strong his true yuan was, the defense of 4 intents was enough. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. He had finally broken through to the spiritual sea realm. However, there was only a thin layer of true yuan in the spiritual sea. Only when the spiritual sea was filled with true yuan could one be considered to have truly stepped into the spiritual sea realm. Explode, explode! Lu Ming continued to explode spiritual crystals. devouring and refining the spiritual qi and turning it into true yuan. As the spiritual crystals continued to be refined, the true yuan in the spiritual sea increased and slowly filled up. 3 days later, everyone's spiritual crystals were used up, but the spiritual sea was not full yet. The amount of energy I need to cultivate is still so terrifying. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. More than 500 million spiritual crystals were still not enough. Immediately, Lu Ming took out a bag and took out 2 primordial stones. He crushed them and primordial qi spread out. The 9 dragons' bloodline opened its mouth and swallowed the origin qi. Origin qi was of a much higher grade than spiritual qi. The spiritual sea was quickly filled with true yuan. In the end, Lu Ming refined another 50 origin stones before his spiritual sea was completely filled. What rich true yuan! What rich true yuan! Lu Ming circulated the true yuan of the battle dragon art. Feeling the rich true yuan, he was in a good mood. The true yuan of the spiritual sea realm was much richer than that of the king realm. Now his battle strength had increased by a lot. With a thought, Lu Ming left the Temple of Paragon and sensed his surroundings. Xian Yanqing and the others should still be breaking through. Lu Ming had the 9 dragons' bloodline, so his speed was faster. I'll cultivate while waiting for them. I'll cultivate the super spiritual sea first. Chapter 756. A day later, Lu Ming successfully mastered the secret skill, Super Spirit Sea. Lu Ming's Spirit Sea had doubled in size from its original foundation and could accommodate more quintessential essence. Of course, when Lu Ming filled up his spiritual ocean, he used another 200 origin stones. If Kong Jin hadn't given him 100 origin stones and Xian Yanqing hadn't given him 200 origin stones, he wouldn't have had enough spiritual crystals. Boom! Boom! On the highest level of the Temple of Paragon, Lu Ming cultivated the suppressing Hell Heaven art. His arms, legs, shoulders, and waist all seemed to contain a suppressing Hell monument. Every move he made had unimaginable power. After more than 100 moves, Lu Ming finally stopped. After reaching the spiritual ocean realm, I can finally use the suppressing Hell Heaven art as I wish. Lu Ming broke into a smile. The suppressing Hell Heaven art was a demigod bloodline martial skill. It consumed a lot of true yuan. When Lu Ming was a peak tier king, he didn't dare to use it casually. After breaking through to the spiritual sea realm, there was no need to worry about this. The vital essence in his spirit sea was extremely rich, and it was completely sufficient. In addition, his 4 intents had all reached the 2nd level. Lu Ming did not know what level his combat ability had reached now. After that, Lu Ming comprehended the 4 intents and cultivated martial skills every day. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. Lu Ming guessed that Xian Yanqing and the others were almost done cultivating, so he left the Temple of Paragon. As soon as he left the Temple of Paragon, Lu Ming felt that something was wrong. He only sensed 2 auras. Originally, there were 3 auras. Shua, shua. As if sensing Lu Ming's aura, there was a sound of something breaking through the air. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin appeared in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming, Kenfei Ryu seems to have left. Xian Yanqing said, Brother Jian left? Lu Ming was stunned. He could sense the inscription formation that he had inscribed. However, he wouldn't be able to sense anyone coming in from the outside. This is the message he sent me. Xian Yanqing handed a sound-transmitting jade talisman to Lu Ming. There was only one sentence inside. Miss Xia, Brother Lu, I have something to do and need to leave first. Don't miss me. Lu Ming guessed that it was because he was in the Temple of Paragon and Kenfei Ryu's news couldn't reach him. So he didn't receive any news from Kenfei Ryu. Why did Brother Jian leave in such a hurry? What happened? Why did you leave without saying goodbye? Lu Ming frowned. Based on his understanding of Kenfei Ryu, he would not leave without saying goodbye. Something must have happened. I'm guessing that it might be because of his junior sister. Xian Yinqing said, That's possible. Could it be that Brother Jian went to Nine Dragons City? Lu Ming frowned. This was the only possibility. Let's go. Let's go back to the city and see if we can get some news. Lu Ming said. Then the three of them soared into the sky and flew towards the city near the king's monument. Soon they arrived at a city. Now, most of the Peak Kings had left. The area near the king's monument had returned to its previous desolation. There weren't many people on the streets. The three of them found a restaurant to see if they could get some news. Kong Jin ordered 50 roasted lamb legs in the restaurant. He was using his words to store them. I heard that all the geniuses and sky prides have gone to Nine Dragons City in the Tianwu domain. That's normal. There's still more than a year before the Battle of Providence. Every time, the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace places great importance on it. I heard that all the cultivation sacred grounds in Nine Dragons City have been opened. All the cultivation sacred grounds that used to be closed are now open to the Sky Prides. Those Sky Prides will naturally flock there. Not only the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, but also the Sky Demon Valley and Sky Corp sect. Every time the Battle of Providence draws near, all kinds of sacred grounds will be opened to increase the strength of those Sky Prides as soon as possible. After all, the Battle of Providence will affect a force's fortune for the next 20 years. It's no small matter. Even the Martial Emperor places great importance on it. That's right. Those Sky Prides will naturally become stronger if they cultivate in such sacred grounds. All the Sky Prides who are interested in the Battle of Providence will not miss it and will go there. Otherwise, they will be surpassed by others. Now, Nine Dragon City is a gathering place. Some people in the restaurant were discussing the recent news. Lu Ming, they're right. Before every Battle of Providence, all the forces will do everything they can to nurture the geniuses of their respective forces and open up all kinds of sacred grounds. This is also an opportunity for us to improve our strength quickly and compete with the geniuses at the top of the list of top 1,000 talents. Xie Nianqing said, Let's go to Nine Dragons City. I happen to know some friends there. Kong Jin said as he gnawed on a lamb leg. Lu Ming pondered quickly in his heart. Nine Dragon City in the Tianwu domain was the headquarters of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Martial Emperor Di was there. If they went to Nine Dragon City, they would be very close to Martial Emperor Di. He was afraid that Martial Emperor Di would sense the Nine Dragons' bloodline. Senior Jiang has already sealed it. He said that it won't be sensed for 10 years, so it should be fine. At that time, I will try not to use the Nine Dragons' bloodline. It should be fine. If I'm always timid and don't seize the opportunity, how can I improve my cultivation quickly? With this thought, Lu Ming decided to go. All right, let's set off in a while. Lu Ming said. After a while, the three finished eating and flew west. They wanted to head to a nearby large region and take the Trans-Region Transportation Formation. Nine Dragon City in the Tianwu domain was known as the largest city in the Eastern Wasteland. The reason why Nine Dragon City was called Nine Dragon City was because it was mainly formed by 9 huge dragon veins. Each dragon vein was actually a mountain range. They were vast and boundless, spanning tens of thousands of kilometers, winding around the vast land. Among them, there were 6 dragon veins in different directions. In the middle of these 6 dragon veins were the other 3 dragon veins. The 3 dragon veins gathered together, forming the core of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Around the 9 dragon veins were city walls. However, these city walls were not ordinary city walls. They were all mountain peaks. Countless mountain peaks rose from the ground, reaching more than 10,000 meters tall. They gathered together and formed a circle surrounding the 9 dragon veins in the middle, forming Nine Dragon City. Nine Dragon City's area was unbelievably large. The The city's area was about the same as the Tianqian domain. That's right, a city was equivalent to a large region. This was simply unbelievable. From this, one could see how majestic the city walls surrounding Nine Dragon City were. They were made of many mountain peaks. It was simply unbelievable. Clearly, this was not the creation of the world. It was said that it was built by a supreme expert from the ancient era, forcefully uprooting countless mountain peaks from the ground and surrounding the vast 9 dragon veins. How vast of a project was this? Lu Ming stood outside the city walls of Nine Dragon City, looking at all this in shock. He found it hard to believe that there was such a shocking building in the world. Was this something that could be done by humans? Even martial emperors could not do this, right? Chapter 7:57. He looked over and saw mountains that were tens of thousands of meters high. All the mountains were side by side, and he couldn't see the end of them. There was a huge city gate at the foot of a few of the mountains. That was one of the city gates to enter Nine Dragon City. Xian Yinqing and Kong Jin were quite calm. Haha, I'm back. Let's go in. Kong Jin carried his axe and held a lamb leg in one hand. He gnawed on it as he walked forward. Fatty, why are you carrying your axe all day long? Aren't you tired? Don't you have a storage ring? Lu Ming asked as they walked. Since he saw Kong Jin, he had seen him carrying his huge axe every day. I'm carrying this axe to lose weight, Kong Jin answered. Kong Jin's answer made Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing stumble and almost fall. To lose weight? Then why don't you stop eating? Eat. Xian Yinqing looked at him with disdain. How can I carry the axe if I don't eat? How can I lose weight if I can't carry the axe? You don't know how exhausting it is to carry the axe every day. Kong Jin said with a serious face. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing were speechless. They were completely defeated. The city gate of Nine Dragon City was huge. It was at least a few hundred meters high and a few hundred meters wide. People came and went at the city gate. It was very lively. They could see all kinds of martial artists riding on demonic beasts and ferocious beasts. They rushed into Nine Dragon City. No one was guarding the city gate and no one was checking. They could enter and leave at will. That was their confidence. As the main palace of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, Nine Dragon City gathered the most powerful forces of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. More than 80% of the experts above the spiritual embryo realm were in Nine Dragon City. There were spiritual embryo realm, spiritual god realm, and even supreme being. In addition, Emperor De was also there. No matter if it was the Heavenly Corpse Sect or Sky Demon Valley, if they dared to break into Nine Dragon City and cause trouble, they would be courting death unless they were Imperial Realm experts. However, if an Emperor Dao expert really came, then it would be useless no matter how many experts there were at the city gates. The three of them walked through the city gates. What entered their eyes was a huge and wide road that led to various places. There were also endless mountain ranges. The Nine Dragon City was a world of its own. After all, its size was comparable to the Tianqian region. What a dense spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Also, the concept of heaven and earth is much clearer than other places. Lu Ming exclaimed, Lu Ming, this is only the edge. Nine Dragon City is where the 9 dragon veins converge. The closer one is to the dragon veins, the denser the heaven and earth spirit qi will be, and the clearer the heaven and earth will be. Therefore, Nine Dragon City is filled with martial king warriors and even sea of soul realm experts. Only spirit embryo warriors and above can be considered experts. Kong Jin said. Lu Ming sighed. The main reason was that the conditions were too good. The Nine Dragon City is dominated by the dragon veins. Right now, the cores of the 6 dragon veins in the 6 directions are occupied by the 6 ancient aristocratic families. With the dragon veins as the core, there are countless clans and sects of various sizes. The bigger ones belong to the emperor, heavenly divine palace. The smaller ones are competing with each other. Every day, there are powers that are destroyed and new powers that rise. Even the 6 ancient aristocratic families are competing with each other. The upper echelons of the Emperor, heavenly divine palace, wouldn't care about this. Only in this way can more experts be born. Kong Jin explained. He had stayed in 9 Dragon City before, so he had a better understanding of the city. We are now in the easternmost area of the Dragon Vein. The strongest power here is one of the 6 ancient aristocratic families, Wang clan. They occupy the core position of the Dragon Vein, and countless clans of various sizes are scattered around the Dragon Vein. Kong Jin continued. Lu Ming nodded. The 3 of them chose a direction and flew while chatting. After a few hours, a city appeared before them. The 3 of them flew in. This city was called Gathering Luxury City. Kong Jin introduced that there are more than 10 clans of various sizes scattered around Gathering Luxury City. This place had not officially entered the Eastern Dragon Vein and was only in the outer area. The closer one was to the Dragon Vein, the denser the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. Only powerful clans could occupy it. Small clans could only be in the outer area. The 3 of them strolled around Gathering Luxury City. This city was not particularly big, but there were many experts on the streets. Lu Ming glanced around and saw that there were martial kings everywhere. Fortunately, there were not many Sea of Soul Realm cultivators. He saw a few, but they were not very strong. After all, this was only the outer area of the Dragon Vein. Ting Ting, it's me, this young master. Suddenly, Kong Jin revealed a bright smile and greeted a girl. That girl was about 23 or 24 years old. She wore a light yellow dress and had a slim figure. She was very beautiful. That girl was walking over. When she heard the voice, she looked over. Then, she glared at Kong Jin and walked over. Damn, fatty, are you a friend or not? You left without saying goodbye last time. Where did you go? Don't tell me you went to deceive a little girl again. The beautiful girl sized up Kong Jin and said unhappily. Haha, Ting Ting, how can that be? With a beauty like you in front of me, how can other beauties catch my eye? I left last time because I had something to do. See, I came back right after I was done. Sigh. Truly, one day apart feels like 3 years. Look, I've lost weight. As Kong Jin spoke, he patted his chest. Immediately, the layers of fat on his chest rippled like waves. It was a spectacular sight. Humph, don't try to flatter me. Your tricks are useless against me. The girl pouted and then looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Ha ha, Ting Ting, come, let me introduce you. Kong Jin laughed and said, This is Wan Ting Ting, my confidant. Damn fatty, don't talk nonsense. I haven't known you for long. Wan Ting Ting interrupted Kong Jin. She looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing and said, The 2 of you look dignified. Are you friends of this fatty? I advise the 2 of you that this fatty is ignorant and incompetent. He's lazy and lustful. Don't make bad friends and be led astray by this fatty. Hey, Ting Ting, how can you say that about me? We're friends, aren't we? Kong Jin said unhappily. Humph, who asked you to be so unreliable and leave without saying goodbye? Next time, don't say that I don't recognize you as a friend. Wan Ting Ting snorted coldly. Looking at Kong Jin and Wan Ting Ting bickering, Lu Ming felt rather amused and did not interrupt. Of course, with such a beautiful friend like you, how can I leave without saying goodbye? Haha, these 2 are friends I met outside. They're Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Have you heard of them? Kong Jin introduced Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Never heard of them. Wan Ting Ting shook her head. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that the Tianji Chamber of Commerce had not updated the list of top 1,000 talents. Moreover, the Battle of Providence was approaching. Most people were focused on the top geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. Not many people were paying attention to the battle of heavenly talents. Chapter 758. Miss Wan. Lu Ming nodded at Wan Tingting and greeted her. Tingting, it's my first time here with two friends. We don't have a place to stay. Do you think we can stay at your Wind Sword sect for a while? Kong Jean looked at Wan Tingting eagerly. Isn't there an inn? Wan Tingting asked. There is an inn, but it's inconvenient to cultivate. How can it be as comfortable as your place? My two friends are geniuses. Isn't it better if we can discuss martial arts? Kong Jean looked at Wan Tingting expectantly. Lu Ming despised him in his heart. This fatty definitely wanted to use this opportunity to get close to Wan Tingting. I say, fatty, Xiaoqing sister, Lu Ming purposely spoke, dragging out his words. Cough, cough. What Xiaoqing sister? I don't know her. Tingting, what do you think of my suggestion? Kong Jean instantly changed the topic. Wan Tingting pondered for a moment and said, All right then. My courtyard is quite big. It's fine with the three of you. But, fatty, you're not allowed to cause trouble. Kong Jean was overjoyed and immediately swore to the heavens that he wouldn't. Lu Ming shook his head. This fatty was truly a weirdo. However, having a place to stay was better than staying at an inn. Lu Ming naturally wouldn't refuse. Immediately, Lu Ming and the other two followed Wan Tingting out of Gathering Luxury City and flew towards the west side of the city. Over 10,000 miles away, there was a mountain range with spirit qi even denser than Gathering Luxury City. On top of it, there were numerous palaces and courtyards. This was Wan Tingting's sect, the Wind Sword sect. The Wind Sword sect was merely a small faction in Nine Dragon City. Within the sect, there were no more than 10 spiritual sea realm martial artists. The highest cultivation was at the 3rd level of the spiritual sea realm. Such strength was absolutely unrivaled in Tianjin region, but in Nine Dragon City it was truly a small faction. However, according to Wan Tingting's introduction, the Wind Sword sect was considered pretty good among the dozen or so factions around Gathering Luxury City. With Wan Tingting leading the way, the Wind Sword sect disciples guarding the mountain didn't stop them. They entered the Wind Sword sect and arrived at Wan Tingting's residence. There were 5 rooms in Wan Tingting's courtyard. It was quite convenient for a few people to stay there. Fatty, Brother Lu, Lady Xia, you guys can stay here from now on. However, don't wander around the Wind Sword sect. There are some forbidden grounds that even I don't dare to enter. If you're caught, you'll be punished. Wan Tingting said. Don't worry, Miss Wan. We know this. Lu Ming smiled. After that, Lu Ming and the other two settled down. Nine Dragon City was too big and there were too many forces. He wanted to familiarize himself with the city first. In the next 2 days, Lu Ming had a rough understanding of the forces in this area. 3 dragon veins converged in the middle of Nine Dragon City. This was where Martial Monarch De and the upper echelons of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace resided. The 6 dragon veins in the surroundings were dominated by the 6 great ancient aristocratic families. As for those cultivation sacred grounds, they were basically above the 9 dragon veins. It wasn't that easy to enter those sacred grounds to cultivate. One had to be recommended by the various branches or the forces in Nine Dragon City before they could enter. It seemed like it wasn't that easy to enter those sacred grounds to cultivate. On the 3rd day, there was a commotion outside. Lu Ming walked out of his room. At the entrance of the courtyard, a young man swaggered in. Su Luo, this is my courtyard. What are you trying to do by barging in? Get out immediately. Wan Tingting stood in front of the young man and shouted, Your courtyard? Don't forget that this is the Wind Sword sect. Do you know your crime for bringing outsiders in without permission? Su Luo's face was cold as he swept his gaze across Lu Ming and the others. They're my friends. It's reasonable for me to let them stay in my courtyard for a few days. What crime is there? All right, Su Luo, you barged into my courtyard without my permission. That's a crime. Get out now. Wan Tingting said, Humph, a slut will always be a slut. You actually brought a few men to stay with you. Su Luo said coldly, Hey, where did this stray dog come from? Why are you barking here? Be careful, or I'll tear your mouth apart. Kong Jin walked over with his battle axe on his shoulder and stared at Su Luo with hostility. Fat pig, what did you say? You're courting death. Su Luo's eyes were cold as a powerful aura rose and enveloped Kong Jin. It was the aura of a peak-tier king. Boom! A powerful aura rose from Wan Tingting's body. She was also a peak-tier king. She stepped forward and blocked Kong Jin, blocking Su Luo's aura. In a place like Nine Dragon City, it wasn't difficult to become a peak-tier king. As long as one was talented and had the support of a large amount of resources, it wasn't a problem to become a peak-tier king. Of course, most of them were ordinary peak-tier kings who couldn't make it onto the list of top 1,000 talents. Wan Tingting, you want to fight me for a few outsiders? Su Luo's face was extremely gloomy. Get out. Wan Tingting said coldly, Okay, fat pig, and you guys better be careful. Su Luo glanced at Kong Jin, then at Lu Ming and Xia Xia. He snorted coldly and turned to leave, as if he was afraid of Wan Tingting. Tingting, why are you blocking me? Let me tear that guy's mouth apart. Kong Jin looked at the door with hostility. Fatty, don't brag. You think you can beat Su Luo when you're so ignorant and incompetent? He's a peak-tier king. Be careful not to be beaten up by him. Also, Lu Ming, Miss Xia, if I'm not around in the future, don't wander around the Wind Sword sect. Su Luo is a narrow-minded person. If he sees you guys, I'm afraid he'll attack you. Wan Tingting warned. Looking at Wan Tingting's serious expression, Lu Ming was speechless. Were they so weak in her eyes that they couldn't even deal with Su Luo? It must be because Wan Tingting had a bad impression of Kong Jin. Tingting, why is that guy targeting you? Kong Jin asked. He wanted to pursue me in the past, but I rejected him. Therefore, he has been targeting me ever since, said Wan Tingting. Humph, with his looks, he's like a toad lusting after a swan's meat. Tingting, your ideal husband is at least a handsome and extraordinary hero like me. Kong Jin patted his chest with a smug look on his face. Shameless. Wan Tingting glared at Kong Jin, then said to Lu Ming and the others, I have something to do and need to go out. You guys better not wander around the Wind Sword sect. After warning them again, Wan Tingting jogged out. I say, Fatty, you've never revealed your cultivation in front of Miss Tingting before. Lu Ming asked curiously. No, I originally wanted to use my handsome and unruly appearance to conquer her. How about it? Do you guys think I have a chance? Kong Jin opened his small eyes and looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing with hope. Shameless. Xian Yinqing left behind a sentence and returned to his room to cultivate. You better use your cultivation to conquer her. Lu Ming patted Kong Jin's shoulder and returned to his room. Chapter 759. In the blink of an eye, another 2 days had passed. In the room, Lu Ming sat cross-legged. Between his eyebrows, a green flame was pulsating. Break for me. Lu Ming muttered as he activated the underworld god observation. The green flame pulsated, then quickly shrunk and disappeared. After a while, a different kind of flame appeared between his eyebrows. It was a blue flame. The blue spirit flame represented that Lu Ming's path of inscription had reached level 6. Level 6 inscription master. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Through his inner vision, there was a spirit lamp in his mind. The blue spirit flame was dazzling and beautiful. Lu Ming's path of inscription had reached the limit of level 5 a long time ago. After this period of cultivation, He finally broke through and reached level 6. Level 6 Inscription Master was equivalent to the Sea of Soul Realm. Now I can look at the seal left by Master. Lu Ming controlled the spirit flame and spread it towards the seal left by Liao Tsang. Very easily, the seal left by Liao Tsang was opened. When the path of inscription was at level 5, it couldn't be opened no matter how hard he tried. But when he reached level 6, it was easily opened. Inside, there were all the experiences and insights left by Liao Tsang as a level 6 inscription master. Lu Ming felt as if he had found a treasure. He began to comprehend and cultivate. In the blink of an eye, another 2 days had passed. Fatty, Lu Ming, Miss Ya, how many days will you stay here? I have something to do. How many days will I be gone? Wan Tingting said to Lu Ming and the other two. Tingting, how many days will you be gone? What are you going to do? Kong Jin asked. Nothing much. I have to complete a mission from the sect. It will take a few days. Wan Tingting said. Mission? Take me with you. Lu Ming, do you want to go? Kong Jin looked at Lu Ming and asked. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. They had been here for a few days. Lu Ming also wanted to go out and learn more about the situation. You want to go together? Let me tell you, this mission has a certain degree of danger. Wan Tingting said, If there's danger, then we have to go. Tingting, don't worry, I'll protect you. Kong Jin seized the opportunity to curry favor. Wan Tingting pondered for a moment and said, You can go if you want, but don't run around when the time comes. Stay by my side. Okay, no problem. I'll definitely be by your side. Kong Jin immediately agreed. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing didn't say much as they followed Wan Tingting out of the Wind Sword sect and arrived outside Juhao City. The mission this time was mainly to hunt down a peak class 5 demonic beast, the Black Ghost Scorpion. The location was in a dark swamp more than 300,000 miles away from Juhao City. According to Wan Tingting, the dark swamp was filled with poisonous creatures. It was very dangerous, so she called a few good friends to go with her. Her friends were not from the Wind Sword sect, but from other forces. Outside Juhao City, Lu Ming and the rest saw 2 other youths, a male and a female. The female was very beautiful and was about the same age as Wan Tingting. The male was also quite handsome. Through Wan Tingting's introduction, Lu Ming and the rest knew that the female was called Xiao Xian. She was a disciple of another sect around Juhao City, the Ocean Cloud sect. The male was called Shi Kai. He was also a disciple of the Shi family, one of the forces in Juhao City. Tingting, who are they? Xiao Xian looked curiously at Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, and Kong Jin. Haha, how are you, beautiful? I'm Kong Jin. Kong Jin took the initiative to greet. His pair of small eyes swept over Xiao Xian's body, shining brightly. This damn fatty is the same as you. Xian Yinqing whispered in Lu Ming's ear. Lu Ming's face immediately turned bitter. He was wronged. He was greatly wronged. Since when was he as lecherous as Kong Jin, staring at a beauty when he saw her? Humph. Wan Tingting glared at Kong Jin and ignored him. She introduced to Xiao Xian, This is Lu Ming and Miss Xian Yinqing. Lu Ming? Xiao Xian's eyes suddenly flickered. Xian, do you know Lu Ming? Wan Tingting asked. No, but this name sounds familiar. I think I've heard it some time ago. Xiao Xian frowned slightly. It's probably someone with the same name. There are many people with the same name in the world. Wan Tingting said, not minding it. Xiao Xian glanced at Lu Ming and nodded. Then, the group flew in the direction of the dark swamp. More than 300,000 miles. It didn't take long for them to arrive. The dark swamp was in front of them. Be careful later. Don't get lost. Wan Tingting was still worried and reminded them again. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. This girl had a good heart, but no matter how he looked at her, he felt that she was too naive. Lu Ming and the other 2 naturally nodded. Then the group carefully flew in. Not long after they flew in, many poisonous insects pounced at them. However, their levels weren't high, and they were easily killed by Yuan Tingting's group. Qiao Xian and Shi Kai were both peak-tier kings and were quite powerful. The dark swamp was very big, and the group traveled for tens of thousands of miles. We're almost at the location of the dark ghost scorpion. Be careful, Yuan Tingting said. The group withdrew their auras and continued forward. A few hundred miles later, that's the dark ghost scorpion. Kill. In a swamp, they found a huge dark ghost scorpion. Its entire body was black, as if it was made of steel. This was their target this time, the dark ghost scorpion. Yuan Tingting yelled and immediately charged at the dark ghost scorpion. The blue sword light was crystal clear as it enveloped the dark ghost scorpion. See, the dark ghost scorpion let out a hissing sound as its black tail pierced toward Yuan Tingting like a bolt of black lightning. Dang! Dang! The sound of metal clashing rang out as the blue sword light dissipated, and Yuan Tingting's figure couldn't help but retreat. Attack together! Qiao Xian yelled and charged up with Shi Kai. Qiao Xian used a soft whip, while Shi Kai used a large hammer. The two worked together with Yuan Tingting and continuously attacked the dark ghost scorpion. Although the dark ghost scorpion was strong, it was still no match for 3 martial artists at the same level. Soon, its black shell was cut open by Yuan Tingting's sword, and black blood seeped out. During this process, Lu Ming and the other 2 didn't interfere. Seeing that it wasn't a match, the dark ghost scorpion turned and ran through the swamp. Chase! Yuan Tingting and the other 2 chased after the dark ghost scorpion. Let's go take a look as well, Lu Ming said as the other 3 followed. One chased while the other fled, and they covered several thousand miles in the blink of an eye. Pum! Just as the black ghost scorpion reached a mound, rays of light shot out of the mound, forming a battle sword that sent the black ghost scorpion flying, splitting it in half in the air. What's going on? Yuan Tingting and the others jumped in fright and couldn't help but stop. A ray? Interesting. Chapter 760. Tingting. There seems to be a formation here. Qiao Xian observed the mound with a frown. Why would there be a formation here? Could it be a senior's cultivation cave? Shi Kai's eyes lit up. Yuan Tingting put away the dark ghost scorpion's corpse into her storage ring. She looked around and said, "This mound seems to have been here for quite some time. It's overgrown with weeds. No one has been here for a long time. Could this be a cultivation cave left behind by a senior? Ruins left behind by a senior? It's possible." Qiao Xian and Shi Kai's eyes lit up. In the history of the 9-Dragon City, countless experts had been born. Some of these experts did not have any descendants, and after their death they would leave behind cultivation caves, ruins, and so on. If someone came across these ruins, it would be a great opportunity. Could it be that they had come across such a great opportunity? The 3 of them were ecstatic. But how do we break this formation? If we inform the sex elders, we won't have a share. Yuan Tingting frowned. This formation is quite powerful. That dark ghost scorpion was killed in an instant. I've only learned a little bit of inscription Dao, but I can't break it. Qiao Xian sighed. The 3 of them looked at each other anxiously. It wasn't easy to come across such a rare opportunity. Were they really going to hand it over to the sex elders? They were unwilling to do so. I know a little bit of inscription Dao. Let me give it a try. Lu Ming smiled and stepped forward. Lu Ming, you know inscription Dao? Yuan Tingting looked at Lu Ming in astonishment. And I know. Lu Ming nodded, looking at the mound. The owner of this mound should be a grade 6 inscription master. The formation he laid out should be a grade 6 array. Grade 6 array? Then how do we break? Yuan Tingting opened her mouth. but before she could finish her words, her beautiful eyes widened. Lu Ming's fingertips danced in the air, and in the blink of an eye, dense inscription symbols appeared in the air, flying towards the mound. So fast? Wan Ting Ting, Qiao Xian, and the others were dumbfounded. Lu Ming's inscription speed was too fast. With a wave of his hand, hundreds and thousands of inscriptions appeared. Wang, on the mound, the light was dazzling and mysterious inscriptions appeared. Rumble. In the next moment, the mound actually split into two halves, revealing a pitch-black passageway. Open. Open? Wan Ting Ting and the others were dumbfounded. It took them a while to react. Lu Ming, I didn't expect that your inscription Dao would be so profound. You even hid it from us before. Wan Ting Ting blinked her big eyes in amazement. Damn it. That brat Lu Ming stole the limelight. Damn it. Fatty Kong Jean wailed in his heart, feeling indignant. Let's go in. Lu Ming smiled. All right, let's hurry in. A group of 6 people walked towards the crack in the mound. The tunnel was very long. After several thousand meters, it suddenly opened up, revealing a rather spacious underground space. This was an underground secret room, which should have been artificially excavated. In the middle of the secret chamber, a skeleton sat cross-legged. There was a spatial ring on the skeleton's finger. It's really a senior's cave. This senior should have died many years ago. Wan Ting Ting's big eyes shone. Qiao Xian and Shi Kai's eyes also shone. A sea of soul realm expert who could lay down a 6th grade array. How many treasures would there be in the ring? To peak kings like them, the temptation was enormous. How about we split it equally? How about it? Qiao Xian suggested. Equally? If not for Lu Ming opening the array, we wouldn't have gotten it at all. I think Lu Ming should get a bit more. Wan Ting Ting said, and that's true. Qiao Xian nodded. I have no objection to Lu Ming getting a bit more. But that fatty and girl didn't do anything. I'm afraid it's not good to share it equally with us. Shi Kai's eyes flickered. Hey, kid, what do you mean by that? Are you looking down on me? Kong Jean was immediately displeased. Hee, you guys don't need to fight over it. Everything inside is ours. Right at this moment, a sneer was heard, and 2 old men in green robes walked in from the tunnel. Wan Ting Ting, Qiao Xian, and Shi Kai's faces changed drastically, especially when they saw the 2 old men's robes. Their faces became even more unsightly. Miao family. You're from Miao family. Qiao Xian exclaimed. Hee, that's right, we're from Miao family. In fact, we've already discovered this cave long ago. But the array outside was rather troublesome, so we've been trying to think of a way. Who would have thought that the array would be broken by you guys? Haha, the heavens are really helping us. One of the old men laughed heartily. You too. Empty words have no proof. You said that you discovered it first, but no one knew. But this cave was opened by us, and this is the truth. According to the rules, the treasures inside should belong to us. Shi Kai argued. Belong to you? Hee, brat, you really have the guts to say that. One of the old men sneered, his eyes revealing a chilling smile. The aura from his body also spread out, terrifying, powerful, and majestic. Sea of Soul Realm, it's the Sea of Soul Realm. Shi Kai exclaimed, his face turning pale. Wan Ting Ting and Qiao Xian's faces also turned pale. Senior, since you found this place first, it should belong to you. We'll leave immediately, let's go. Wan Ting Ting was decisive. Seeing that the situation was not right, she immediately gave up. Go. Go where? One of the old men moved, blocking the tunnel entrance. The other old man's gaze swept over Xian Yanqing, Qiao Xian, and Wan Ting Ting. The evil fire in his eyes blazed as he sneered. Our luck today is really too good. There are actually 3 such beautiful little beauties. Peerless, truly peerless. Hee, The two of you can stay and serve the two of us. How about this? That chick belongs to me, and the other two belong to you. How about it? The old man, blocking the tunnel, pointed at Xian Yinqing, his eyes burning with desire. You really know how to choose. The other old man curled his lips. As for Wan Tingting and Xiao Xian, their faces were already pale without the slightest trace of blood. Two seniors, my father is the Sea Cloud sex patriarch. Please let us go. Xiao Xian's small face was snow white, her voice trembling. So, it's the daughter of the Sea Cloud sex patriarch. Haha, then it'll be even more fun to play with. One of the old men laughed, not afraid at all. Wan Tingting and the others revealed a look of despair. The Miao family wasn't a force near Zhuhao City. The Miao family was located on top of the Dragon Vein. They had the qualifications to establish a force on top of the Dragon Vein. The forces near Zhuhao City couldn't be compared to them. Chapter 761. Lu Ming, don't fight with me this time. And Miss Ya, calm down, I'll take care of it. Kong Jin suddenly transmitted his voice to Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Ah! Lu Ming was stunned. Xian Yinqing's eyes emitted a cold light, and he was also stunned. At this time, Kong Jin stepped out and shouted, I say, you two old guys, do you think I'm invisible? Now kneel down and admit your mistakes to these ladies, and I'll consider lenient punishment. The sudden words made Wan Tingting, Xiao Xian, and Shi Kai a little stunned. Fat pig, what did you say? An old man's face darkened. Old guy, are you deaf? I told you to kneel down and admit your mistakes. Kong Jin said with a cold face. Lu Ming smiled slightly and didn't step forward. If this fatty wanted to show off in front of the beauties, let him go. Anyway, these two old guys from the Miao family were dead meat in Lu Ming's eyes. Xian Yinqing snorted and didn't make a move. Fatty, you want to die? Wan Tingting's face was pale as she walked to Kong Jin and whispered, Tingting, don't worry. With me here, no one can hurt you. I can suppress these two old guys with one hand. Kong Jin straightened his back and said loudly, he was telling the truth. The two old men were both at the peak of the first layer of the spiritual sea realm. He was confident that he could suppress them with one hand. It's over, it's over. Wan Tingting, Xiao Xian, and the others thought that the fatty was bragging and lamented in their hearts. They were definitely done for today. They even decided that they would rather die than fall into the hands of the two old men. Fat pig, you want to be a hero and save the beauty? Look at yourself first. I'll chop you up now. An old man revealed a cold smile. His figure moved as fast as lightning, and a claw grabbed at the fatty. Fast, too fast. Moreover, an enormous pressure spread out and pressed down on Wan Tingting and the others. They felt as if an incomparably heavy mountain was pressing down on them, and they couldn't even resist. The difference between a normal peak king warrior and a peak first-layer spiritual ocean realm expert was too great. A single slap could kill a large number of them. Wan Tingting and the other two felt despair in their hearts. They realized that they might not even be able to commit suicide in the hands of the two elders. But in the next moment, their eyes suddenly widened. The fatty stretched out his hand and accurately grabbed the old man's wrist. Kacha! In the next moment, the sound of bones breaking came from the old man's wrist, followed by the old man's shrill scream. Damn, fat pig, let go of me! The old man roared as green true yuan emanated from his body. His cultivation erupted as his other palm struck towards Kong Jin. Bang! Kong Jin was very direct. He raised his arm and swung it. The old man's body was like a broken sack. He was heavily thrown to the ground. With a loud bang, the ground shook. The old man's body crashed into the ground, creating a big pit. His mental state and Zhen Yuan dissipated without a trace. Bang! Kong Jin swung his arm again. The old man created another big pit in the ground. Even the secret room rumbled and shook. The old man was lying in the big pit, vomiting blood continuously. His body was like a pile of mud. His eyes were filled with disbelief and fear. With his peak, first-layer spiritual ocean realm cultivation, he couldn't resist Kong Jin's hands. Kong Jin said he would suppress him with one hand, so he did it with one hand. Monster! This is a monster! The old man roared in his heart. Wan Tingting, Qiao Xian, and Shi Kai were already petrified. They widened their eyes and looked at the tall and straight Kong Jin, dumbfounded. This was especially true for Wan Tingting. She had known Kong Jin for some time, but she had never seen him fight before. She had never dreamed that this gluttonous and lazy fatty would be so terrifying. A peak, first-layer spiritual ocean realm expert was as weak as a baby in Kong Jin's hands. This was unbelievable. It was like a dream. Clown, how dare you speak rudely to Tingting? You're courting death. Kong Jin tried his best to straighten his chest and make himself look as majestic as possible. TSK, you really know how to pretend. Xia Nianqing despised him. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and touched his nose. Go quickly. Bring the Miao family's experts and kill this fatty. I want them to die, all of them. The mud-like old man roared. The old man at the entrance of the passage suddenly reacted and turned to run. But the moment he turned, he suddenly saw a figure standing at the entrance of the passage, looking at him with a faint smile. It was Lu Ming, but he didn't know when Lu Ming appeared there. Boy, get out of my way! He had no time to think. With a roar, he charged toward Lu Ming. The terrifying true essence and concept condensed into a sharp blade and slashed at Lu Ming. He wanted to kill Lu Ming as quickly as possible and then escape. He couldn't let that fatty catch up. That fatty was too terrifying. He secretly swore in his heart that as long as he escaped, he would bring the Miao family's experts to kill that fatty and flatten the sea cloud sect. Then he saw Lu Ming stretched out a palm and slapped him. Bang! The saber gleam that he unleashed with all his might fell like tofu on Lu Ming's palm. Wherever Lu Ming's palm passed by, all his attacks and defenses vanished. Thereafter, Lu Ming's palm slapped him hard on the face. Pa! With a crisp sound, the old man felt the world was spinning. His body flew far away and fell in front of Kong Jin. Blood spurted from his mouth, and he looked confused. The old man, who looked like a pile of mud, was also dumbfounded. Wan Tingting, Qiao Xian, Shi Kai, and the rest widened their eyes so much that their eyeballs almost popped out. They looked at Lu Ming in a daze, and then at the old man who had been slapped until he was dizzy. They rubbed their eyes hard, thinking that they were dreaming. Lu Ming, Wan Tingting, and others couldn't speak fluently. They didn't know what to say at all. First, it was Kong Jin, then Lu Ming. In their hands, two powerful figures at the peak of the first tier of the spiritual sea realm were simply trash and toys. They couldn't resist at all. Birds of a feather flocked together. They thought of the sentence. That fatty was so strong. How could Lu Ming be weak? And Xian Yanqing. They looked at Xian Yanqing, who still had a look of disdain on his face, and were speechless. Who on earth were these people? Were they at the top of the list of top 1,000 talents? Lu Ming, you're fighting with me again? Kong Jin glanced at Lu Ming unhappily. I'm afraid that he'll run away. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Humph, he can't run away with me. It'll be a matter of minutes to deal with these two trash. Okay, Tingting, how should we deal with them now? Kong Jin looked at Wan Tingting. Kill them, we must kill them. Otherwise, the Miao family won't let us go when they go back. Chapter 762. No, please spare us. When we go back, we promise we won't say a word. Let's just forget about what happened today. Yes, let's forget about it. The two Miao family elders cried out in a hurry. Unfortunately, I don't believe you. Wan Tingting's face was cold, and bright sword light poured out. The two pitiful Miao family elders had strength, but were scattered by Lu Ming and Kong Jin's attacks. They had no power to resist and were pierced through by the sword light. Taking a deep breath, Wan Tingting's gaze shifted from Lu Ming to Kong Jin. She said, "Fatty, you've had a hard time keeping it from me. You're obviously so powerful, but you didn't tell me." "Tingting, you didn't ask me, did you?" Kong Jin laughed. "This time it's all thanks to you. Otherwise, we'd be in danger. How about this? All the storage rings here belong to you. We don't want anything." Qiao Xian said. "That's how it should be." Wan Tingting nodded. Although Sher Kai was a little unwilling, this time it was all thanks to Lu Ming and Kong Jin, so he didn't have the face to ask for a share. "Everyone found this place together, so let's divide it equally." Lu Ming stepped forward and devoured the essence and blood of the two elders without anyone noticing. Two martial artists in the first layer of the spiritual sea realm, and Lu Ming estimated that the skeleton was at most in the third layer of the spiritual sea realm when it was alive. With Lu Ming's current realm, he wasn't too tempted, so he proposed to divide it equally. Qiao Xian, Sher Kai, and the others were local bullies. Although their cultivation wasn't strong, it might be useful to have a good relationship with them. And Lu Ming is right. Let's divide it equally. You guys count it. Kong Jin inhaled with his Zhen Yuan, sucking the storage rings into his hand and handing them to Wan Tingting. "Thank you, Brother Kong and Brother Lu." Sher Kai expressed his gratitude immediately, his face showing joy. Thus, Wan Tingting and Qiao Xian didn't refuse and began to count. In the end, the 6 of them divided it equally. "Since the mission is complete, let's go back first. Thank you for your help this time. In 2 days, I'll treat you to a good meal." Wan Tingting smiled. Qiao Xian and Sher Kai were also grinning from ear to ear. This time around, they had struck gold. They exited the underground secret chamber, and nothing happened along the way. Not long after, they returned to Juhao City. Qiao Xian and Sher Kai were the first to leave, returning to their respective factions. Lu Ming, Wan Tingting, and the others returned to the courtyard. After returning to the courtyard, Wan Tingting left first. She had to turn in the Black Ghost Scorpion's mission. Wan Tingting went to the mission hall to submit her mission. Just as she was about to go back, she was blocked by a figure. "Yi Qing, is something the matter?" Wan Tingting's eyes darkened as she looked at the figure in front of her. The person standing in front of her was a woman. Her appearance was not bad, but her somewhat unkind eyes destroyed her beauty. "Wan Tingting, my father is looking for you. Let's go to the meeting hall." Yi Qing said coldly, "Sect Master is looking for me." Wan Tingting frowned. Yi Qing's father was the Wind Sword Sect's Sect Master. Regardless of talent or beauty, Wan Tingting was above Yi Qing. In the past, Yi Qing had always been jealous of Wan Tingting and would find trouble with her at the slightest provocation. Their relationship was very bad. "Let's go." Yi Qing turned and walked out. The sneer at the corner of her mouth was even thicker. There was even a faint, smug smile. Wan Tingting frowned. She had a bad premonition, but since the sect master was looking for her, she had no choice but to go. Not long after, Wan Tingting and Yi Qing arrived at the Wind Sword Sect's meeting hall. In the meeting hall, not only was the Wind Sword Sect Master Yefe there, but there were also a few elders with real power. They were all experts above the Spirit Sea realm. "Su Luo." Wan Tingting saw Su Luo behind an elder. Su Luo's father was an elder. At this moment, Su Luo looked at her with a somewhat cold gaze. For some reason, Wan Tingting had a bad premonition in her heart. "Disciple greets sect master and elders." Wan Tingting bowed and greeted. "Rise." Wind Sword Sect's sect master, Yefe, smiled faintly. "Thank you, Palace Master, said Wan Tingting. Yes, Tingting, your Wan clan has been blessed by the Wind Sword sect for generations, and the Wind Sword sect has fostered you wholeheartedly as well. Now, there's a matter that concerns the rise and fall of the Wind Sword sect that requires your help. You won't refuse, right? Said Yi Fei. Wan Tingting's heart jerked. She knew they were about to get to the point, and she said, Please speak, Sect Master. So long as it's within Tingting's ability, I'll surely do my best. Tingting, you ought to know of the 100 Supremacy Mountain, right? Said Yi Fei. 100 Supremacy Mountain? Could it be that it's already opened? Wan Tingting was shocked. The 100 Supremacy Mountain is an extremely profound paradise of cultivation. According to legend, there are imprints and even inheritances left behind by over 100 domain enlightened spirit gods within the 100 Supremacy Mountain. Normally, it isn't opened at all, and it's only opened before the battle of karmic luck. The geniuses of those great clans are naturally able to enter at will, but small powers like us have a fixed quota. This time, there are a total of 36 powers in the surroundings of Luxury Gathering City, Star Gathering City, and Wind Gathering City, and they only have a total of 30 quotas. Moreover, only the 6 strongest powers have the qualifications to be allocated a quota. So, 10 days from now, the 36 powers will dispatch their strongest experts to compete for the top 6 positions. Yi Fei explained. Sect Master, this sort of competition will definitely be fought by Sea Spirit Realm experts, right? My cultivation is weak, so how could I be of any help? Wan Tingting spoke with bewilderment. Yes, it'll naturally be Sea Spirit Realm experts. The ancestor of my Wind's Word sect will emerge from his closed-door cultivation as well. However, with the strength of my Wind's Word sect, it's utterly impossible to enter the top 6. We have to seek help from outside. Only in this way would we be able to enter the top 6. We absolutely can't miss this opportunity. At that time, a few geniuses of my Wind's Word sect will be able to enter, and only then will we be able to rise abruptly in the future, said Yi Fei. Wan Tingting still didn't speak. She still didn't know what she needed to do. Tingting, to tell you the truth, the 2 seniors of Clear River Mountain have taken a liking to you. So long as you agree to marry them, they'll lend a hand to my Wind's Word sect. In that way, it'll be very likely for my Wind's Word sect to seize the top 6 positions. As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Fei looked at Wan Tingting with a bright gaze. Rumble. It was as if thunderclaps had resounded in Wan Tingting's mind. After speaking for so long, Yi Fei's true objective was finally exposed. He actually wanted her to marry the 2 weirdos of Clear River Mountain. The 2 weirdos of Clear River were 2 old monsters that had lived for over 1,000 years. They had a vicious and eccentric temperament and were well known in the vicinity of Gathering Luxury City. Yi Fei actually wanted to use her as a condition to marry the 2 old monsters in exchange for their help. Yes, to marry the 2 old monsters at the same time. Wan Tingting never imagined that there would be such a thing. I don't agree. Wan Tingting clenched her fists tightly and took a deep breath. She looked at Yi Fei with a determined gaze and said. Yi Fei frowned, and the other elders frowned as well. Tingting, you have to know how important this opportunity is to the Wind's Word sect. The 2 seniors of Clear River Mountain, one of them is at the 4th layer of the spiritual sea spirit realm, while the other is at the peak of the 3rd layer. With their help, we'll definitely be able to seize a spot in the top 6. Even if we're in 6th place, we'll still have 3 spots. This concerns the rise and fall of the Wind's Word sect. Chapter 763. No, I don't agree. Sect Master, if you want to ask for help, you can ask others. Why must you ask the 2 monsters of Clear River? Wan Tingting said, Ask others? Then what kind of experts can you invite? Tell me. Yi Fei sneered. I have a few friends with extremely high cultivation and powerful battle prowess. You can ask them to come help us. Wan Tingting thought of Lu Ming, Kong Jin, and Xian Yinqing. Ha ha ha. Wan Tingting, you're not talking about those brats living in your side courtyard, are you? On the side, Su Luo laughed loudly. That's right, it's them. Wan Tingting gritted her teeth and said, Kong Jin and Lu Ming could easily crush the two Miao family elders, who were at the peak of the first layer of the spiritual ocean realm. Their battle prowess was definitely above the second layer of the spiritual ocean realm. Wan Tingting thought that if she begged them, perhaps Kong Jin and the others would agree. Hee hee, laughable. What can those brats help us with? Drag us down? But that chick looks pretty good, as beautiful as a fairy. Don't tell me you want her to use a honey trap? Ha. Su Luo laughed loudly. Humph. She just wants to find a random reason to refuse. She completely disregards the sect and only cares about herself. Yi Qing said coldly, All right, the two seniors of Clear River Mountain are at the peak of the fourth and third layer of the spiritual ocean realm. Where can we find such battle prowess? Finding them is the safest choice. This matter is settled. Yi Fa said, No, I don't agree. Sect Master, it's not like you don't know what kind of people the two monsters of Clear River are. They are two old monsters. Who knows how many innocent girls have died in their hands? Wan Tingting shook her head. Nonsense. How could the two seniors of Clear River Mountain be that kind of people? You have to agree to this matter. Yi Fa's face darkened as he scolded. That's right, Wan Tingting. Those are two powerful figures in the spiritual ocean realm. Being able to marry them is your fortune. This is also the benefit that the sect fought for you. It's fine if you don't thank them, but you dare to refuse? Yi Qing's eyes revealed a delighted light as she said, coldly, Since it's so good, then why don't you marry them? Since it's for the sect, then marry them. Wan Tingting stared at Yi Qing and shouted, Nonsense. The two seniors from Qinghe Mountain have their eyes on you. All right, this matter is settled. Go back and pack up. In 2 days, follow me to Qinghe Mountain. Yi Fa slammed the table and scolded, directly making a decision. No, I won't marry. I'd rather die than marry, unless you kill me and carry my corpse there. Wan Tingting gritted her teeth. Her eyes were red as she looked at Yi Fa with determination. How dare you? Evil creature! What an ingrate! The other elders shouted angrily and glared at Wan Tingting. Ha ha ha! Wan Tingting suddenly laughed. At this moment, her heart was as cold as ice. She was completely disappointed in this sect. For generations, my Wan family has given our all to the Wind Sword sect. We've fought bloody battles and made countless contributions. My elder brother died in battle for the sect. My Wan family doesn't owe the sect anything. You don't have to use any favors to suppress me. Wan Tingting completely exploded. She stood up straight and glanced at Yi Fa and the other elders. Her eyes were filled with disappointment. You don't have to give any high-sounding reasons. No matter what you say, it's all for the sake of the sect. You're just doing it for your own selfish reasons. You want to send your descendants, these pieces of trash, into the 100 Supremes Mountain. Are their talents the strongest in the Wind Sword sect? Wan Tingting pointed at Yi Qing and Su Luo. Bitch, what did you say? Who are you calling trash? Yi Qing screamed. Isn't it? How many resources did the sect spend on you? If these resources were used on me, I would have broken through to the Sea of Soul realm long ago. As for you, you just broke through to the Peak King realm. If you're not trash, what are you? Wan Tingting berated loudly. Bitch, you're talking nonsense. I want you dead. Yi Qing's voice was sharp and her face was distorted. Wan Tingting had hit her sore spot. If the quota this time is really given to those talented disciples, I can agree. But if it's given to these trash, I won't agree. Wan Tingting said, the matter of the quota is arranged by the sect. It's not up to you to interfere. Yi Fei's face was extremely cold as he said in a deep voice. Wan Tingting shook her head and smiled bitterly. Her talent was definitely one of the best in the Windsword sect. But normally, she was suppressed everywhere. Any good resources would be given to Yi Qing, Su Luo, and the others first because they had backing. As for her, most of her resources were obtained through her own missions. She wouldn't say anything about this. Birth was different and fate was like this. She could only rely on herself. But now Yi Fei and the others were actually so shameless. They wanted to sacrifice her in exchange for Yi Qing and the others' opportunity. She would never agree. I'll say it again. Kill me, or I won't agree to this. Wan Tingting's reply was resolute and decisive. Wan Tingting, you better think carefully. You have to know that your parents are still in the sect. You better think about their safety. Yi Fei said in a deep voice. Wan Tingting's delicate body trembled violently. Her face was pale without a trace of blood. Yi Fei actually used her parents to threaten her. Was this something a sect master would do? Despicable. Shameless. Yi Fei, you guys are despicable and shameless. Wan Tingting yelled. Bastard! How dare you? Wan Tingting, follow me to Qinghe Mountain in 2 days. Otherwise, you will have to collect your parents' corpses. Moreover, you still have to go. Yi Fei stood up and emitted a powerful aura that pressed down on Wan Tingting. Wan Tingting's body trembled as a trace of blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Her eyes were filled with despair. She had no choice. Her parents' lives were in the hands of the Windsword sect. She could only compromise. Hee. Wan Tingting, aren't you pretty? Congratulations to you for marrying 2 almighties. Yi Qing let out a gloating laugh. Haha, Wan Tingting, when I enter the 100 Supremes Mountain in the future and obtain a great opportunity to become a peerless expert, I will definitely not forget your kindness. Su Luo laughed heartily and was extremely carefree. With trash like you guys, you will never achieve anything great. Wan Tingting looked at them coldly before turning around and leaving the conference hall. Humph, bitch, just you wait. Yi Qing snorted coldly. Wan Tingting walked out of the conference hall in a daze. She only felt despair in her heart. The road ahead was long, but she couldn't see any hope. She flew out of the Windsword sect in a daze and disappeared into the distance. She only returned to her courtyard in the evening. Tingting, what's wrong? Why are your eyes red? Did someone bully you? Kong Jin asked hurriedly after seeing Wan Tingting. I'm fine. Hurry up and move out of my courtyard now, and leave the Windsword sect. Wan Tingting said coldly. You want to chase us away? Why? Kong Jin was a little stunned. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.